College football presented by Tums on a Sunsplash Saturday afternoon here at Lincoln Financial Field in the city of brotherly love. OU comes calling the 13th ranked Sooners and the Temple Owls out of the American meeting for just the third time all time here on this beautiful weekend afternoon. Alongside of Sam Acho, I'm Roy Philpott. Marilyn Payne joins us on the sidelines in just 1 minute. And Sam, OU, really the talk of college football this week, fresh off the home victory against the Maize and Blues a week ago. And now John Mateer takes center stage once again.
Yeah, if you're trying to tackle John Mateer, make sure to bring a +1 because you're not going to bring him down by yourself. This dude has elite level quickness, elite level speed. Yet he's a quarterback. You see him move, you're saying, okay, this guy's got to play a different position, but he can run it. He has great vision off the field, and he's carrying this football team. He does a lot of the carries as well, so the running backs have to step up if they want to have a sustained season success.
Yeah, the Washington State transfer led the country in total touchdowns just 1 year ago with 44 overall. He's got some work to do on the road this afternoon. Meanwhile, for Temple, Casey Keeler off to a surprising 2-0 start as quarterback Evan Simon. He's got Big Ten experience and a little cachet.
Yeah, Casey Keeler not only brings the cachet, but he brings the culture to this football team. Was at Sam Houston State, won championships there, was at Delaware, was a winner there as well. He has built and instilled confidence into his players. And then Evan Simon, the quarterback who's been there and done that, now he finally has an opportunity to prove that he's the guy. Now he's doing it against the top defense in the SEC.
Marilyn Payne has more on the starting quarterback for the Owls.
Roy, Evan Simon embodies the belief the Temple Owls have against this number 13 Oklahoma team. He says, why not be confident? I'm the best quarterback I've ever been. I can see defenses the best I've ever seen them, and he's excited to face Brent Venables. He remembers being a sophomore at Rutgers and playing Iowa well. He said, I passed for 300 yards before, and I'm ready to do it again with this team here today.
Senior from Mount Joy, Pennsylvania, about 2 hours west of downtown Philadelphia. Temple won the coin toss and elected to receive. Tate Sandell on the playing surface for OU. Tyler Stewart back deep for the Owls. The SEC versus the American. We are underway. And 8 yards deep into the end zone. We will take a look at our Mattress Firm impact players, Sam.
Well, we've talked a lot about John Mateer as a runner, but the impact players are about who the guys he's going to be throwing the ball to. Deion Burks has elite level speed as a receiver. Isaiah Satania is a receiver, but look out for him in the return game. On the other side, Temple running back Jay Ducker. He's going to be a key focal point for this offense if they want to have success and sustained drives versus Oklahoma.
Temple Owls playing here at home in the cherry uniforms from head to toe. OU in the crimson and cream, the all whites on the road, some 1,400 miles from Norman. Handoff along the left side and stacked up. No real estate for Jay Ducker, the transfer from Sam Houston, and Kip Lewis brought him down quickly.
Yeah, those two linebackers, we haven't talked about them yet, but Kip Lewis and Kobe McKenzie on the inside, number 10 and 11, they are heat-seeking missiles. They go downhill and downhill fast. They'll be big in this game.
Evan Simon said this week, I've been waiting all year for this game. Held a clipboard a year ago in Norman in the first matchup between these two. Had his tight end in the seam, Ryder Cush. And the pass falls incomplete, 3rd and long.
Yeah, but maybe a picture, Roy, of what we might see. OU loves to be aggressive. Brent Venables loves to bring pressure. Well, if you get behind some of these pressures, you may find a slight seam in their defense.
Owls have combined for nearly 100 points in their first 2 victories this year. Important to get off to a fast start here at home against a top 15 team. Sooners showing pressure. They'll drop out of it. Simon flush into the flats. Well short of the line to gain and quickly corralled at the 26. Jay Ducker on the swing pass, a short pickup on 3rd and long, and OU defensively with a 3 and out.
Well, it started with the first play. First, it was a negative play. You go into 2nd and 11, and all of a sudden, now you're in an obvious passing situation. That's not where you want to be if you're Temple. You do not want some of the pass rushers to be able to tee off on you. And so that play was a win on 3rd down, but it started because of the negative play forced by Oklahoma on 1st down.
Dante Atten. Down under. Temple punter. Satania back deep to receive for OU. Casey Keeler feels like his team does have an edge in special teams. We'll see if that's a factor. Good start for the Oklahoma defense. And head coach Brent Venables. Here comes John Mateer. 3 touchdowns accounting for a week ago in the home victory against Michigan. And how about 44 total scores last season at Wazoo? He transfers to OU along with his offensive coordinator, Ben Arbuckle.
Yeah, they've been nearly unstoppable so far. And John Mateer is a player, if you play defense, you don't even like him because he's going to run you over, stiff arm you, do things to you that will embarrass you on national TV. And so Temple needs to be aware of his elite level quickness and speed.
Javonte Barnes motions out, empty backfield for OU on first down. Off the tunnel, Deion Burks racing ahead, the Purdue transfer. He'll pick up 9 on first down.
Oklahoma, sometimes on big plays, but also on early completions, they like to go fast, get on the line, and not give you a chance to substitute.
Barnes in the backfield this time. Pump fake, sidearm delivery. Pass is caught. Keontez Lewis. And the first down of the afternoon, a gain of 7 for the Sooners.
There it is. You're seeing the quickness, the efficiency. They're already on the line. The defense is trying to figure out what's going on.
The ball is snapped before just about anybody can get set, including the broadcasting team. Mateer, flush. Sheds off one potential tackler. Down the field, first down. Jaron Kanak, the tight end. The converted linebacker rumbles for 18.
Yeah, great job by Kanak. Sekou Kroma on defense tried to set the edge, and he did. He stopped Mateer, but you can't just stop Mateer. You have to shut him down. He keeps his eyes downfield and gets the completion.
Tunnel screen to Lewis. Second grab on this first possession for the Sooners. And a positive gain on first down. Well, Sam, you wonder, is OU going to be fresh coming off the big win? And with Auburn coming to town and former OU quarterback Jackson Arnold next weekend, this feels like a trap game, but a healthy start.
It feels like a trap game from up here. When you go down there, it feels way different. I talked to offensive coordinator Ben Arbuckle, and that's the most intense I've ever experienced an offensive coordinator head coach before a game. He was dialed in. He said, we have to be the most excited team to be here.
Inside give, Javonte Barnes. And on second and short, Ordonez brings him down. And enough for the first down. The drive continues for the Sooners.
Roy, you talk about trap games, and that's a real thing, but Brent Venables is really trying to rebuild a culture in Oklahoma. Not just say we're going to play up to the big games like Michigan. No, we're going to play to our standard every single week, and that's what we felt in meetings. But also you feel that down on the field when you talk to some of the players and the coaches. They are dialed in.
I spent about 45 minutes with Brent Venables this week, virtual. There's Deion Burks. Got to be tackled in the backfield. The TFL, Curly Ordonez. And a loss of 9.
A great job by Ordonez. You see him on the edge. His eyes are in the backfield. He's not going to get fooled by the reverse. He's going to go and stay in his gap. He's an edge player, an edge defender. Nothing can get outside of him. Phenomenal job by Ordonez.
Interesting call there, considering how easily OU has already gotten into plus territory. Reverse to Burks. 2nd and 19. Mateer with time, flings it, incomplete. A little bit of contact across the middle. And trying to spot Satania. Louis Fry right there ready and waiting. 3rd and long.
Great job by Fry, avoiding the penalty and perfectly timing up that PBU. Passed a little bit behind Satania, but now all of a sudden, you got a situation where you're in fringe field goal range. So I expect Oklahoma not to try and get a first down, but maybe to get 5 to 7 yards to make the field goal easier.
Temple defense trying to rise up. First possession of the game for OU. Mateer sensing pressure. Kanak has it. Kanak's got a first down.
See the pressure from Sultan Badmus on that, but once again, Mateer has patience in the pocket to find his receivers.
I mean, patience would be one word. Poise would be another. The backside pressure was there. It almost got home. He sensed it, and the ball's out right away.
That's one thing that impresses me, maybe not the most, but it's up there with John Mateer. It's his ability to...
ball being spotted. We have an injury on the defense.
It's his ability to sit in the pocket and take hits. He's taken a lot of hits so far, and he continues to.
London Hall, the injured Temple Owl, as we step aside in Philly. Welcome back to Philadelphia. Fast start for John Mateer and company. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. And Mateer 5 out of 6 for 59. First down and goal for Oklahoma after the conversion on 3rd and 19. Jared Kanak picked up 23. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Maryland Payne. Javonte Barnes in the backfield from just inside the 10. He'll get the call right through the A gap, twisting and turning down to the 3. Super not tackle. It'll be 2nd and goal. We'll spot it at the 4. 2 tight end set for the first time for the Sooners. It was 51-3 last year in Norman, the season opener for both teams. Both head coaches would tell you these 2025 versions are much better than their 2024 counterparts. Right up the middle. There goes Barnes into the end zone. And Oklahoma strikes first. First touchdown of the season for Javonte Barnes, a senior from Vegas.
If there was ever a doubt, Roy, that Oklahoma would sleep through this game, that doubt has been quelled. I mean, they've started so fast and with so much intensity that they're trying to make sure that they dominate early in this game.
And they'll show Kanak out of the shotgun. What appears to be a 2-point try. Over the right side, now the jump pass, and it's caught! Jacob Ulrich, the punter, with the 2-point conversion, and it's 8-0 OU.
Not only was that a 2-point conversion, that was a no-look pass by tight end who's a converted defensive player. We'll start with the running back, start with Javonte Barnes. Great job on the inside zone. But you got your former linebacker, turned tight end, turned quarterback with a no-look pass. Unbelievable job by Oklahoma and this offense.
Now the world headquarters for NFL Films, not that far from Philadelphia. Our crew able to take some shots yesterday. And of course, Temple head coach Casey Keeler actually spent a year in between jobs with NFL Films, working with Merrill Hodge, Ron Jaworski, also a year calling games for us at ESPN. He told us yesterday, Sam, it gave him great perspective on how the college game has morphed into the professional ranks, including the zone read. He did some studies on Russell Wilson, how many hits he absorbed with the Seahawks in that zone read game in a regular season. And he said he wasn't hit once, but in the postseason play, that started to change. But it also reminded him of how much he missed being on the sidelines. And from Delaware to Sam Houston, winning national championships at both stops, by the way. Former Delaware linebacker, he won a D2 national title in 1979 to kind of kickstart his head coaching career. A couple of stops, playoffs in Division III. And then at Delaware, won the title in 2004. And that was the Division I AA ranks. And then at Sam Houston in 2021, playing that spring another national championship. Casey Keeler has won everywhere he's been.
And he does it building a culture. He does it by instilling confidence into his team. He says that everybody on this team believes that they can win, and he has a sense of peace and calm around him.
Along the left side, Colin Chase gets a touch. And a positive gain on first down. McKenzie, the tackle. Tyler Walker, offensive coordinator for KC Keeler, told us yesterday, our goal on first down, 4 yards. That is what we're striving for today. And for that head man, 273 career victories. He'll pick up 4 on first.
And I love what you said earlier about the fact that he missed football. When he was analyzing the game, it was fun from up here, but he said he missed the joy of victory.
Speaking of Sam Houston, Jay Ducker, the transfer in the Bearcats program, started his career at Memphis, will be stopped by Robert Spears Jennings. 3rd and short.
This is exactly where you want to be if you're Temple. This is how you wish the first drive would have gone. 4 yards on first down, 4 to 5 yards on second down. Now you have a third and manageable where you have the entire playbook open to you. If I'm Temple, I still stick with the running game because you believe in your offensive line and your running back, Jay Ducker.
Big play for the Owls. 3rd and 1. And they get the surge up front. The answer is no. OU was ready and waiting. Numeral 0, David Stone.
So we talk about clinic tape of technique. David Stone, number 0, puts on a clinic when it comes to how do you defeat a blocker. There was a 9-man box. He simply just throws away the center and does the rest. Beautiful play by Stone using his hands to defeat the offensive lineman.
Oklahoma passing the early test on the road, coming off the win against Michigan. Dante Atten back on the field for the Owls. And Satania back deep to receive for the Sooners. Off the side of the foot and a wobbler. Spins nearly out of bounds, fielded cleanly. Satania. And ahead almost to midfield, a punt of just 34, a return of 11. Now the head coach Brent Venables on the road. His team, year number 4 under his watch, off and rolling in 2025. KC, Trevor, good to hear from you guys. A fast start for Michigan at the Big House and a good start for Oklahoma on the road here in Philadelphia. Mateer back to work. Second possession for the Sooners. Zion Kearney will pick up the first down, his first grab of this season. 8 catches a year ago for the sophomore from Fresno, Texas.
And you can feel the fear that Temple's defense has for the speed of Oklahoma. They're playing off, they're playing soft, so all these underneath routes are more open.
Watching Mateer in person, Sam, our first time to witness some of his magic. He's impressive. The velocity on the delivery, the mobility, the athleticism. And we talked with Ben Arbuckle about John Mateer this week, and he said, you know, he's a football player before he's a quarterback, and that mentality resonates on the field when you see him for the first time.
He's a leader. When he transferred to this team, there's stories about him kind of wanting to be in the back and let the guys, you know, do their thing. And they said, no, dude, you are our quarterback. Lead us. And that's what he's done from the beginning.
Did they say, nah, dude?
Probably so.
Checks out. Incomplete. The fastball delivered to Burks. Batted away by Osweke.
Yeah, and to your point about Mateer, but there's another piece, Arbuckle too. There's a level of intensity and confidence in not only do I want to win this guy a Heisman Trophy, but I want to build and instill confidence into the entire team that they didn't have last year.
3rd down and 8 for Mateer. Surveys. Flush. This is where he gets the job done. Kanik has the first down. Jaron Kanik today. Already 3 receptions and a 2-point conversion completion in an 8-0 lead for OU.
One thing that you're going to notice about Mateer, there's so much talk about him being a runner, and he is, but when he escapes in the pocket, his eyes are consistently down the field. That's what you continually see, and it shows up on tape.
Avery Powell, the injured Temple player. Oklahoma on the move, the transfer from Missouri State. And if you're just tuning in, the first drive for the Sooners got off to an outstanding start. Full rhythm for John Mateer. On the move, no problem. And whether it's his tight end or Burks, he is finding a nice rhythm to start.
Yeah, John Mateer is putting on a show with his arm, but also with his elusiveness. He's able to escape and maneuver the pocket. And that's been a big-time emphasis on the run, but there's been a big-time emphasis on being aggressive. A 2-point play by your tight end, who's a former linebacker. They're just really trying to make a statement today.
Year 4 for Brent Venables, 24-17 overall, 10 wins 2 years ago. Last season was a struggle, and he admitted to us this week. I mean, in midseason form, we talked to him for 45 minutes. We probably asked him 3 total questions, just waxing poetic. But he said Mateer and Arbuckle, their arrival has healed a lot of wounds from our team from a year ago, because that brand, that offensive identity was on campus right away, going back to January.
And some of it too, I mean, there was a bunch of injuries at receiver, injuries at quarterback, so it wasn't all the coach's fault, but still the confidence was injured.
Pop pass to Burks. try to get to the edge. And weaving his way through traffic, Ordonez a tackle. Picks up approximately 7, maybe 8.
And I know we're seeing a lot of pace. I don't expect, number one, the pace to slow down, and number two, Ben Arbuckle to get any less aggressive. I expect shots to the end zone in this high red zone area. He wants to put his full arsenal on display.
Second and short. Well, back the Sooners up 5 yards.
Start. 7 offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
It's a sophomore receiver. Ted Pitts leads this SEC officiating crew. 5 years ago, Ben Arbuckle was coaching high school football at Seminole High School in Texas. Fast forward, now he's leading perhaps one of the more potent offenses in all of college football. We asked him, hey, was this part of the plan this week? He said it was always part of the plan to reach a school like OU, but the timing happened a little sooner, pun intended, than what he anticipated.
I see what you did there.
Second down. Mateer survives for a moment, then is brought down behind the 30. Ordonez and Calhoun got there in a race to the quarterback.
So remember we said earlier, if you're going to try to tackle John Mateer, make sure to bring a +1, bring a friend. Curly Ordonez, he misses, but then finally he brought a +1. Charles Calhoun was able to make that play. So anytime you're playing a quarterback like Mateer, it can't just be one person to the party. All 11 hats must attack the football.
The sack results in a loss of 10. 3rd and 17. OU has been lethal on 3rd down so far. Handoff to Barnes, stacked up and driven backwards. Sekou Chroma. And a loss of 2 more.
One of the leaders on this team, Sekou Chroma, is saying, hey, enough is enough. I hear about their offense. I've heard about Mateer, heard about their receivers. Let's start talking about us. The dude's on the leadership council. He's one of the guys that they look to for guidance. Great job by Chroma.
From 2nd and 2 to 4th and 19, and now a 52-yard try for Tate Sandell. Transfer from UTSA. We'll whistle that one dead.
Prior to snap, timeout, Temple. That's their first of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Well, coming up, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. 6th-ranked Georgia heads up Interstate 75 to Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. Tangle with number 15 Tennessee. Later tonight in primetime, 3rd-ranked LSU hosting Florida. Big game for Bill Napier and the Florida Gators. Both games also available on the all-new ESPN app. Sam, not 1, not 2, not 5, but 11 teams in the Southeastern Conference currently ranked in the AP Top 25.
Yeah, but the rankings are somewhat shifting. We saw Oklahoma lower in those rankings. They've had some impressive wins. They're rising in the rankings. Auburn, they play Oklahoma next week. We'll see where they end up. So a lot of top teams, but this is the exciting part of football. They get a chance to play each other to see who's who.
Sandell missed from 42 a week ago in the win against Michigan. From 52 this week, a different story. And Oklahoma extends its lead, now 11-0 OU on the 52-yarder off the left foot of Tate Sandell.
I'm sure that Casey Keeler wishes he wouldn't have called that timeout because he actually missed. Tate Sandell missed that earlier kick that he had. But here's a beauty, the left-footed kicker right down the middle.
2 drives for OU, 2 scores. Brent Venables happy. And now calling plays on the defensive side of the ball this season for the Sooners. Right back in his wheelhouse. And this program seems to have responded to that change. He's always been heavily involved, and we told him this week, I said, Coach, I know that you were really involved in the play calls going back even to last season or the year before, but this year, he said tactically it is different, and he knows it's all on him to dial up the pressure that's needed in some of these big games he has coming up on the schedule.
And I love the decision for him to take back the reins when it comes to calling plays. He's one of the best defensive coordinators in all of college football. So for him to put that hat back on and understand situations is best for this football team.
And it doesn't feel right if he's just the CEO. After the touchback, Temple will get the football back. For 20 years, Allstate has celebrated every field goal and extra point made at participating universities by donating to the university's athletic scholarship fund, supporting all student athletes. Thank you to Allstate.
So, Roy, if I'm Temple now, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag. You've had some early down success, but then you've gone backwards a couple times. You know you can't win one-on-one, at least up front. So don't be afraid to do some of the quick passing game and get the ball on the edges.
Owls have run 6 plays for 7 total yards. Worthy on the field for the first time. Trying to spot Cush again, and it's incomplete. Omosigo was in coverage. And that's the second time that Cush has had a chance to corral the football. Second time he's come up empty.
Yeah, the first one was a drop. This one was a great play by Omosigo, but the problem with going to pass on first down and an incompletion is that you have to get some kind of positive yardage on second down. If you're 3rd and 10, you have no chance. So this may be a run to get a few yards on second.
Simon, similar play. Holloway across the 30. And a gain of 7 as Chase able to catch it for head coach K.C. Keeler. Now an important 3rd down.
There it is, but at least you got us a 3rd manageable, 3rd and 4. You're not going to be in a set where it's a 5-step drop and you got one-on-one against some of the dogs up front. Now you have an option. You can run the ball, you can do the quick passing game, you can even play action.
And this is the situation where Venables likes to bring pressure. Here they come off the edge. Simon, the timing route was there, and a first down for Temple. Now the pressure by Reggie Powers. It is Holloway this time, a gain of 12.
Yeah, great job by Holloway just getting available. Evan Simon knew that he was going to get hit. He knew that pressure was coming. He eases a little bit to his right and gets the ball out just in time.
How about Simon staying in the pocket that time, knowing a collision was on the way? Rutgers transfer. He was a part of this program a year ago. Decided to stay when K.C. Keeler came on board. A little bit of cushion for Holloway. And into plus territory for the first time. A 9-yard gain on first down. Pressure by OU's Kip Lewis.
But there's confidence there. You're seeing a little bit more of, hey, coach, I get it. We want to do quick game and run game. Coach, just give me a half second more, and I'll be able to get the ball to guys like Holloway and Colin Chase.
Simon keeps it. And a fastball over the fingertips of Holloway. It'll be 3rd and short.
So last time we saw a 3rd and 1 run, it got stuffed. This time it's 3rd and 1. You're in a little bit in the plus territory, so you may think it's 4-down territory. But still, based off of what happened last time, I'm going getting the ball out on the edge, a pass on the edge, or maybe one of those jet sweeps, because the middle of the defense was not very friendly last time around.
Colin Chase lines up top of the screen, has some speed. Yet to call the name of JoJo Bermudez, who also is a burner. Passing look on 3rd down. There's the pressure, and down goes Simon. Reggie Powers the 3rd, 13 in crimson and cream.
And just when you think you got a little bit of momentum, a little bit of confidence, Reggie Powers and Brett Venables and this defense does the rest. You're going to see Powers lined up right behind the defensive end, and he patiently sees outside and times up that blitz. Great job by Powers, but better job by Brett Venables, showing different styles and schemes of pressures that Evan Simon hasn't seen.
Now this Temple offense stuck in neutral to start. Loss of 9 on the play. Couldn't find a way to extend the possession when it was 2nd and 1. End over end at the foot of Atten. And Satania with a fair catch at the 11. Take a look at the Taco Bell Live Más student section. Only one student section can claim the title, Live Más student section of the year. Will take home the trophy this year. Well, after a punt of 47 yards, Sooners 2 possessions, 2 scores. John Mateer. And for those that follow Heisman Trophy odds and the chances of a particular player to make it to New York City, Mateer started to bolt up those lists this week after his performance against Michigan. Not to mention what he was able to do a year ago on the Palouse up at Washington State. One of the more electrifying players in all of college football. Handoff, Blaylock. And nothing doing. We'll check in again with Maryland.
After that big sack to keep the Sooners out of the end zone, Cameron Stewart came over to the sideline and yelled at every teammate celebrating to act like they've been here before. Then Casey Keeler, the self-proclaimed CEO and facilitator, came over to coach every position group on the defense into lining up more quickly and paying attention when they need to sub more readily to maintain their freshness against this physical Sooners team.
Now, OU and Temple, the Owls, feel like that they have plenty of depth and can go 2 to 3 deep in a lot of positions. They'll use that to their advantage today. Breaking multiple tackles for the Sooners is Satania. Close to another first down.
You see them hurrying up to the line of scrimmage again. It's like it's 3rd and short. Oh, no, they're saying it's a first down.
Move the chains quickly. Mateer, the keeper. We'll stop this play before it gets started. Chains moved really late. Penalty marker near the 30.
Previous play is under further review, looking at whether the runner made the line to gain or not.
From up here, Roy, it looked like they were a little bit short. So I was surprised when they moved the chains to get the first down. You saw Mateer moving around a little bit, but they looked about a half-yard short.
Jim Laborde, our replay official, on site today in collaboration with the SEC Video Center. They'll have a look at what we are looking at. Right now, they have to reach the 27 to move the sticks.
That was a play they tried to run quickly before they measured, but the play before
Had it been 21-yard line, not the 27. They'll take a look. Did talk to this SEC officiating crew today. Did have the conversation about all the catch versus non-catch situations.
Review, the runner was short of the line to gain. It'll be 3rd down.
So 3rd down and short, but just made the simple comment. Common sense approach to catch versus no catch with all the controversy through the first 2 weeks of the season. Every year it feels like there's something new. They took it into consideration. 3rd and 1. You know, Mateer certainly an option on the ground. We asked Ben Arbuckle this week, do you coach him? Do you rep making sure that he slides down onto the turf? Was able to escape out of bounds? He said yes, all the time. That's a conversation because Mateer's health is priority #1 for this team in 2025.
But he also said, I trust him. I trust him to know when to get out of bounds, when to slide, but when to make a football play and run somebody over.
Quarterback power. Mateer planted his foot in the ground, jumped across the line to gain. Super not able to tackle him. Let's see where this spot is. First down.
Yeah, there are certain situations as a quarterback, especially a guy like Mateer, where you take a lot of hits, right? A guy like Josh Allen, you take a lot of hits. Sometimes you got to slide and protect yourself, but other times, critical situations, get the first down.
Kanak in motion. Play action, sidearm toss. And grabbed inbounds by Keontez Lewis. Lewis has had an active start in this first quarter. And 15 minutes in, it is all Oklahoma on the road. 11-0 our score here in Philly.
Oklahoma leads Temple 11-0 after the first quarter. Owls head coach Casey Keeler here with me. What does your defense have to do to get off the field without allowing points for the first time today right here?
Yeah, for the first thing is we have to make some plays. You know, it's a game of making plays. And I think the moment got a little bit big for us, and we panicked a little bit. So they're a good football team. I told them, like, listen, settle in. Don't worry about celebrating every snap. Let's worry about playing football. And so hopefully we're settled in now and we can get back in this thing.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Maryland, thank you very much. On first down, Oklahoma Isaiah Satania, another catch and a gain of 5. Fry makes the stop. Sooners have been in rhythm to start. Their trip to the East Coast. Blaylock a touch. Stopped about a yard shy of the first down by KJ Miles.
And we've seen, Roy, Oklahoma be able to move the ball downfield, but there have been times where they've gone backwards, where there's been sacks or penalties. So that's what they need to be alert of.
Inside handoff, Blaylock busting through the line of scrimmage into plus territory. So we've seen Javante Barnes, Torrey Blaylock, no Jaden Ott just yet. Transfer from Cal, and that's a gain of 10.
And the reason why I say something to be alert of is that if you're Temple and Casey Keeler, you're thinking, okay, how do I get something going? One of these negative plays you have to turn into a positive. Maybe it's a tip, maybe it's an overthrow, maybe it's a forced fumble. You need one of these things to go your way.
I do want to ask you about Jaden Ott this afternoon, because a lot of Oklahoma fans wondering at what point will he be unleashed. He's one of the top running backs in the country coming into this season. Satania, full head of steam. Tripped up near the 26. Now Satania, a weapon through the air and on the ground, a gain of 20.
They're showing off his speed. That's what they're trying to do. Go quickly, go outside, go inside. Exploit the deficiencies of the defense.
Using tempo. Floated towards the end zone and incomplete. Lewis was going to be open for a moment, and Mateer had to get rid of it quickly.
And that was a real first shot down the field. Everything else has been underneath for 10 yards, 5 yards, 15 yards. That's the first time that we've seen John Mateer in this offense try to take a shot down the field.
Only third incomplete pass for Mateer, now 12 of 15. We asked Ben Arbuckle about the identity of this offense. He ran through all the different concepts: air raid, pro style, West Coast, combination, all of the above. Mateer with all afternoon to survey, a jump toss and a strike. First down, Oklahoma.
Hey, you know, he used to play baseball, right? And he wasn't a pitcher; he was a shortstop. This looks like he's picking up a ground ball and throwing it to first. Look at John Mateer jump up in the air and get that ball to Zion Kearney, just showing off his skill set.
Just outside the 10-yard line, Mateer on the move. Blaylock, the freshman running back from Humble, Texas, will get the touch over the left side and plows his way to the 6. Ante Pollard chopped him down.
And the hard part about drives like these, not just this one, all 3 drives for Oklahoma, is that they've stayed on the field so long. These drives have been sustained. The defense gets worn out.
12th play of the possession for the Sooners. Blaylock plants, cuts, and explodes into the end zone. Second touchdown of the season for the true freshman. And it's 17-0 Oklahoma.
Talk about having an identity, Roy. Physical. These running backs, they're showing it off.
Whether it has been Barnes or Blaylock. Tate Sandell makes it 18-0.
True freshman from Humble, Texas. Not the biggest guy, man. He runs with intent, seeks downhill, and wants contact. Great job by Torrey Blaylock.
Casey, thank you very much. Back here in Philadelphia, 18-0 Oklahoma leading Temple in this battle of undefeated teams. Still early in this season. OU has not missed a beat, picking up right where it left off. For the home win against Michigan. Game day was on campus last weekend. What a scene, what an atmosphere. And the same cards were played a year ago. Tennessee came to town. Game day was there. Sooners didn't play well, didn't show up. They certainly did a week ago. And the idea of a trap game today, he stepped out of bounds. He stepped out at the 1-yard line. And a microcosm of this start for Temple today.
On the field is The returner received the ball before stepping out of bounds. 1st and 10.
It was Tyler Stewart, Sam.
Yeah, Tyler Stewart has to have just a little bit more awareness. If you know you're that close to the sideline, get that foot out of bounds first. Let's say intentionally you want it to be a kickoff out of bounds. You could do that, but Tyler Stewart didn't know how close he was. So instead, he receives the ball, then he steps out of bounds, and by that time, it's too late. Temple ball at the 1-yard line.
And that may be a little-known rule. You can do that with the foot out of bounds on a clean grab. That's a kick that goes out of bounds and a penalty.
Correct. And you get the ball up at the 35-yard line, but in this case, it's not. In this case, he was inbounds first, and then he touched the ball, and that's a mistake.
Our rules expert, Sam Acho. Well done. Big possession for the Owls. Trying to get back at it inside its own 1-yard line. Stacked up and driven back. Forward progress, the only thing that matters. And Ducker able to just escape the goal line. You said halt in a tackle.
Yeah, you said big possession for the Owls. Man, I think it's a big possession for Oklahoma's defense and what they want their identity to be. You have a team backed up. You're up 18-0. It's early in the game, but you want to shut them out. Why not make a statement now, especially on the interior, and getting a safety? See all the offensive linemen, forehands in the dirt.
Simon straight ahead. Gain of a yard maybe on the push.
And if you're Temple, Roy, the worst thing that can happen now is a safety. Why? Because not only does it just deflate the entire stadium, but it's 2 points. You get the ball back to their offense who you haven't been able to stop. And so no issues with you running a quarterback sneak to get a little bit of space. And I understand the desire for a first down, but your offensive line has struggled to protect. So don't be afraid for a quick passing game or even a run play.
Ducker motions out. 3rd down and 9. The pass batted in the air, nearly caught for the pick 6. It was in the air forever. Omosigo able to get a fingertip on it.
And Grayson Halton got a fingertip on it too, but that fingertip should have been an interception. I get it, you're a defensive lineman, you're not used to touching the ball, but man, lay out, do something. Oh, it went right between his hands. He made that first stop, nearly had a touchdown.
Brent Venables licking his chops, and a first down inside the 1, bringing the heat, the pressure, and it pays dividends. Here's Atten.
But also look, the returner's inside his 50 already.
Well, you jumped across the line of scrimmage. There was movement.
Offside defense in the neutral zone, causing the offense to react. It's a 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
So as disappointed, Roy, as you are that you didn't get the safety or the interception, you're still going to get great field position. Isaiah Satania is lined up at his own, at the 50-yard line. So by the time he returns this ball and say he gets 10 yards, you're already in field goal range.
3rd 3 and out forced by this Oklahoma defense, and a full-length snap to Atten. And Satania from the 45 with a fair catch. Punt of 38, nothing on the return. Don't forget tomorrow on Sunday NFL Countdown for the Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl rematch. Saquon Barkley goes one-on-one with Marty Smith, plus can Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers stay hot in A-Rod's Pittsburgh debut. And Randy's best catches of the weekend, you got mossed. Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow on ESPN. How great has it been to see Randy Moss back with the crew previewing these games? And it's must-see TV. I want to see the best catches of the weekend.
Yeah, I want to see Randy Moss talk about it. He's a legend. I got a chance to connect with him even during my time at ESPN, and he's the guy you root for.
3 OU possessions, 3 scores, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Throwing a 2-point conversion from the tight end, Jaron Kanik. Mateer back to the air. Flings it again, and incomplete, off target for Lewis, who was breaking open near the red zone.
But I like it. I love the fact that you're still taking shots down the field. This is only the 2nd time we've seen really a somewhat downfield pass from John Mateer. You're seeing with some of the arm angles and the different arm slots. But I love the aggression of Mateer and Arbuckle.
Ben Arbuckle told us the way he delivers the football from the side, it's part of what makes him unique and the quarterback that he is. And he said, I challenge you to find more velo from a quarterback in college football. Blaylock dropped it in the flats, and that arm angle is something to watch because it's different, Sam.
Correct, but every quarterback is unique, just like every human is unique and every football player is unique. People are saying, man, why is he throwing it sidearm, different arm slots? Well, that's what makes him him. It's his baseball background, but it's worked at this level, so you don't need to change it. Just continue to refine it and make him that much more of an accurate passer.
OU 4-5 on third down. Xavier Robinson on the field for the first time. And Mateer against the grain, buys some time, retreats, and now heaves incomplete. And there is a penalty flag down at OU sideline near the 34.
Holding defense, number 24. That's a 10-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
It's Ben Osweke, one of the defensive leaders, gets the holding penalty. But I love John Mateer's movement. He's moving in the pocket, but his eyes are down the field, and it forces the corners and safeties and linebackers to cover it that much longer. They're not used to covering for 7, 8, 9 seconds. That's what makes it so difficult.
5 minutes in the second quarter. All Oklahoma. Mateer was hit, fires another strike. Satania, and a first down for the Sooners.
It's impressive. It's impressive, right? Just the ability to take these hits. But you got to start counting them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different shots. Those things start to add up. So the offensive line has to do a little bit of a better job protecting Mateer.
After a gain of 17, Blaylock to the edge. Blaylock to the end zone. The Sooners putting on an offensive clinic in Philadelphia.
Yeah, no edge, no chance. Look at Sekou Kroma, number 0. He tries to spin inside the defensive end, but you have to set the edge. Make Torrey Blaylock cut back inside where you have help. If you try to go inside or spin inside and no one expects you there, the offense is going to see it and they're going to expose you. So Kroma and any defensive end, if you're in a defense, you have to set the edge, do a better job of forcing the ball back inside.
Sooners with 3 rushing touchdowns to start, in the lead at 25, 10 minutes to go.
You won't find 4 or 5-star prospects walking around. You won't see glamorous cars lined up outside. You won't hear anyone quitting. On North Broad Street, what you'll see, hear, and feel is urgency to get better every day, pushing yourself to limits you have never experienced before. This program, this experience, it's not for the weak. It's certainly not for the gram. It's for family on Broad Street. It's the only way we know how to do it. Diamonds in the rough, who when given the chance, know how to shine. That is Temple Tough.
Temple Tough being tested back in Philadelphia. ABC and ESPN broadcaster Kevin Nagandi. Well done by him, the Temple graduate. Plenty of school pride in Tyler Stewart. Clean, fair catch. Owls will get it back, trailing 25-0. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Marilyn Payne, and for Evan Simon, what needs to change offensively to try to have a chance to get back into this game?
Some of the passing game that we saw early, doesn't have to be the quick passing game, but the intermediate passing game needs to continue. Temple saw success in the intermediate passing game. The running game hasn't been very successful, but continue to just work the middle of the field, 8 to 15 yards down the field. They've been successful.
Owls have run 15 offensive plays in the half. Oklahoma with 15 first downs. Simon keeps it. Diving ahead across the 30. Kobe McKenzie a tackle. And a gain of approximately 6 on first down. A little quarterback run game probably wouldn't be a bad thing for the Owls.
Correct. Sometimes the game plan has to change. We talked to the coaching staff. They said, hey, man, we're going to run it a lot. We're going to run it early. Well, the running game hasn't been effective. So now you change to maybe the quarterback run or some of the intermediate, not just the quick passing game, the intermediate passing game based off how the defense is playing you.
Simon back to the air. Cush a reception. Third time he's been targeted. Right back to the line of scrimmage. McKenzie and Lewis right on top of him.
And the problem, Roy, as well is a lot of these drives have been either 3 and out or 1 first down and out. And not only does it get your defense back on the field, but it dissipates your confidence as an offense. You think, man, can we get anything going? So this first down will be critical for that Temple tough mindset.
Sooners showing pressure against the 4-man front. Here they come. Wide open path to the quarterback. And looking for Colin Chase. It's incomplete. Kobe McKenzie shot out of a cannon, and Simon barely had a second.
Yeah, but we talk about alligator arms, right? Colin Chase had an opportunity to catch that ball across the middle. You have to be able to make this play for your quarterback. You can't short arm it. You can't stop in the middle. I understand you might get hit, but man, we need that first down. So those are plays that Temple isn't making that's keeping them from being competitive in this game.
3 drops for the Owls on offense. 4th and 3. 5 total drives, 4 3-and-outs. Isaiah Satania. Clean grab at the 25. After a punt of 42, Sooners will get it back. Monday Night Football, we've got a doubleheader this week. Bucs-Texans, special start time of 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN Deportes. And the Chargers and Raiders on ESPN and ESPN Deportes, both also available on the new ESPN app. Coverage kicks off at 3 Eastern with NFL Live and then SVP, the Monday Night Countdown crew at 5 o'clock. And, well, it's a pretty big deal when Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh get together, when you have your own dedicated page on Wikipedia chronicling all of the events that happened back in the old Pac-12 when Coach Carroll was at SC and Jim Harbaugh was at Stanford. You know it's a pretty big deal.
And it fast forwarded to the NFL when Coach Carroll was at Seattle Seahawks and Harbaugh was with the 49ers. They asked Pete Carroll earlier this week, hey, do you have any fond memories? And he said, no, I have none. No fond memories of Jim Harbaugh.
Nobody has it better. Jim Harbaugh and his Chargers on the slant to Burks. Gain of 20. Pitch and catch right now, so easy for Mr. Mateer.
And the reason why is that this Temple defense, they understand the speed of Oklahoma. So they're playing a little bit off, you can even say soft, so that they don't get beat over top. Oklahoma says, okay, I get it. You don't want us to take shots over the top. We'll just go 5, 10, 15 yards and catch and run. So there needs to be, it's like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. If you start to pressure, you get beat over your head. If you stay off, they're going to keep on winning underneath.
Carson Kent in motion. The leg give to Blaylock. Check in again with Maryland Payne.
John Mateer's sideline demeanor, Roy, is as easygoing as his demeanor on the field is. OC Ben Arbuckle described their exchanges as just being checking that we're doing everything right, and it's exactly that. They look at one another, look at the iPad, nod. They look at one another, look at the iPad, nod, and keep it going.
You think about the quarterback room up in Washington State a couple of years ago. That sidearm delivery was batted down by Chroma. You had Cam Moore, the future #1 overall draft pick this past year's NFL draft, and then Mateer backing him up. Ben Arbuckle said this week, you know, he's not Cam Ward, not just yet, but he's not far off.
Yeah, he said he's close, and I got a chance to talk with Cam Ward's dad earlier in the week, and he said, man, Ben Arbuckle convinced Cam Ward to come back to Washington State for that second year. There was a level of confidence, level of trust, and yes, we heard that Mateer is not Cam Ward, but he said, man, he is close.
3rd down so far. OU's been pretty much unstoppable. Sooners need 9 here. Mateer heaves it. Incomplete. Batted away at the last minute by London Hall.
So one thing we did hear from Temple, we said, hey, what's the plan to try to slow down this offense? He said, man, Mateer may put the ball in harm's way. He said tips and overthrows will happen, but when those happen, you have to be able to convert. So great job by London Hall with the tip, but plays like that, they have to start rolling your way and bouncing your way if you want to get that confidence going again.
So Jacob Ulrich was injured last week. Was not the starting punter. We saw him on the field. He caught a 2-point conversion earlier today. But Grayson Miller handled the kicking chores here. Off the side of the foot, and that'll be whistled dead near the 16. punt of 38. Temple gets it back in desperate need of some points here in Philadelphia after this. Casey, thank you very much here in Philadelphia. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Maryland Payne. Temple gets the football back. Underneath, the safety valve is there across the 20. Sam, bigger surprise so far today. 21-0 Bama leading Wisconsin, or Clemson down 13-0 on the road in Atlanta?
It's just bad to say that neither is a surprise. Alabama's been playing with a lot of confidence. Ty Simpson's been playing great. Last week he was outstanding. And then Clemson has been confusing. They struggled early in the season. Nearly lost to Troy last week. And Georgia Tech plays with toughness and grit. So I'm not surprised by either, put it that way.
Brent Key has reshaped and rebranded the identity in Atlanta. Very impressive after a gain of 5. Ducker with the reception, now weaving his way through traffic. A spin move, Ducker! And the first big play of the afternoon for Temple on offense.
Yeah, we've been waiting for him to make an impact, and Kobe McKenzie actually is going to miss this tackle, but Jay Ducker doesn't care. You made an impact in the passing game, but now you have to be able to make one thing happen, make one guy miss, and then get a couple extra yards to put some confidence into this offense.
Gain of 20 yards for number 20, the Sam Houston transfer.
Is under further review for its potential targeting.
Owls only had 37 total yards before that scamper. Casey Keeler would love for 15 more yards to be added to that run by Jay Ducker.
Correct, and in this scenario, you know, there's two types of targeting. One is when there's a defensive player, which Jay Ducker is not. There's another one that's targeting with the crown of the helmet. That's when you lower your head and you lead with the crown of your helmet. And it looks like in this case, number 1, Jaden Hardy does just that. He lowers his head and he leads with the crown of his helmet. That's that very top point of your helmet, and in the 6 inches around it. So this is what people are trying to take out of the game. Hits like that. Now, it's not a vicious hit, but that type of technique is dangerous. So if you ask me, that looks like a targeting with the crown of the helmet. The hit, though, may not be vicious enough for it to be called.
So it is a booth-initiated review. Jim Laborde, our replay official, we mentioned it earlier, collaboration with the SEC Video Center. They are looking at the same footage that we are. Question is, forcible contact.
Correct. Is there forcible contact? And mind you, you're seeing it right here. Either forcible contact to the head and neck area of a defensive player, or any forcible hit by the helmet crown. We saw the crown of the helmet by Jaden Hardy. The question is this a forcible hit? Right, is Ducker spinning because of the hit, or is it because of getting tackled? That's the question that we need to answer.
After further review, the ruling on the field of no targeting is upheld. Be first down.
Correct. So what the referees determined was that, yes, he led with the crown of his helmet, but it was not a forcible hit, so they could not confirm that there was targeting. So the call is, the terms they use now, instead of stands or is overturned, they say it's upheld.
Gain of 20. No penalty at the end, just the second first down for Temple in this game. Simon in the seam, pass is caught, and another big gain for the Owls. Ryder Cush, same play we saw the first play from scrimmage in our first quarter.
Correct. The intermediate part of the field is open because there's so much pressure by the guys up front. The DBs are staying back. They don't want to get beat. And so we're seeing the middle of the field being attacked. Notice you're seeing R. Mason Thomas, number 32. He's frustrated. He's angry. Are we even letting up yards at all? But that's what needs to happen for this Temple offense.
After a gain of 19, Ducker corrals the high pass. He's going to lose 2. ESPN supports the College Football Playoff Foundation's Extra Yard for Teachers Week each year to celebrate great teachers across the country who have inspired so many of us. Nominate a great teacher in your community by visiting cfpfoundation.org. We'll check in for more on Evan Simon with Maryland Payne.
Simon's from Mount Joy, Pennsylvania. He went to Manheim Central High School and wants to give a shout out to Mr. Herbert, who had a big impact on him, teaching several different business classes in high school. And he was always checking in with Simon on his recruitment and how he was doing on the football field. Mr. Herbert also led a bunch of the chants for the student section, some of which we're hearing a response to here in Lincoln Financial Field.
We talked about it. This is the middle part of the field. We're finally taking chances if you're Temple. We're finally getting a little bit of pass protection. Looks like that ball hit the ground, so it's going to end up being incomplete.
We have a review. The ruling on the field was a catch.
That's going to end up being incomplete, but I love the style of play calling. It's a little bit more aggressive. There was the thought of, hey, we got to be patient. We have to, get a couple yards here, a couple yards there. No longer. Go be aggressive, and I get it. Ball hits the ground. It's incomplete. Temple tried to hurry up and try to get to the line and run another play. But even with that incomplete pass, at least you give Oklahoma some pause as to, hey, this team's going to run it 3 times and throw it short.
On 2nd and 12, Bermudez picked up 17. Looks like the ball hits the turf right as that left hand comes up over the top. Ruling on the field was a catch. What do you see there?
It hit the ground. That's obvious. That's clear and obvious to me. If I'm wrong on this, then take me. No, I'll say my referee career will be over, but I don't want a career in being a referee. But that's clear and obvious. The ball hit the ground, so that's going to be incomplete. I did talk to one of the referees, the field judges down on the field before. He said he likes his job.
After further review, the pass was incomplete. It'll be 3rd down.
So I guess I still have a career in being a referee one day in my, in retirement.
Clear and obvious, 3rd down and 12. Temple back-to-back plays, 20 and 19 yards. That was more than what it had combined for total offense before. The entirety of this game now 3rd and 12, and let's see what Evan Simon kind of tricks he has up his sleeve.
Well, let me tell you what I hope. I hope that they do a 7-man protection, meaning you have your 5 offensive linemen, you keep your tight end in the block and your running back so that your receivers can have time to get down the field. You see all these guys up for Oklahoma, some of them are going to drop out.
Sooners showing pressure. It's a spot Brent Venables loves to bring the blitz. Here it comes. There it goes. Simon is belted. And the sack by Boganowski.
So we talked about 7-man pressure. Oklahoma brought 8. You bring one more than the offense has to defend. You saw 2 guys drop out, but everyone else stayed in their blitz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th one got there.
Sophomore from Junction City, Kansas, Michael Boganowski. First tackle behind the line of scrimmage this year. It's a big one, a loss of 7. And that is the DNA of one Brent Venables on 3rd and long. Buyer beware for an opposing quarterback. 6th punt of this half for the Owls. And whistle dead at the 9. Well, a number of big stories circulating on social media this week in regards to this game. One of those stories, pride of Oklahoma marching band not making the trek over here to Philadelphia. They're going to be at all the SEC road games this year. And so what did OU do? They hired one of the rival bands here in the Philadelphia area, the St. Joe's Band, playing a little Boomer Sooner as we go through this afternoon.
I hope these band members are getting paid, NIL or something, because, man, I wanted to see the pride of Oklahoma, the joy, the pageantry. But shout out to St. Joseph's, and once again, I hope they're getting a healthy revenue share.
Do miss the Schooner here. You love seeing that around. The band's blaring Boomer Sooner. It's fantastic. It's one of the great anthems in all of college football. Big game next week when Auburn comes to town. Mateer back on the field here through traffic. And a hard hit. It was ripped away. It was ripped away and intercepted. Ty Davis. Lewis remains down on the turf. Davis laid the lumber, ripped away the pigskin in the process.
Ruling on the field is an interception. Injury timeout.
Davis, the fifth-year senior from Mount Laurel, New Jersey. The leader of this group, according to defensive coordinator Brian L. Smith.
Lewis on the ground, and not only is his offensive players out there around him, but you see the entire team starting to walk towards the field. It speaks to not only his leadership, but the impact that he's had on this team, that he's having so far this season. Nearly every single player from Oklahoma's bench is on the field. Now they're checking out, making sure their teammate is okay. I don't want to speak too lightly of it, but you don't always see this. The care, the concern. Lewis is a leader.
Fifth-year senior out of East St. Louis, Illinois. Nearly up, albeit slowly.
This is really, Roy, the first mistake that I've seen John Mateer make. You know, leading your receiver into a zone coverage. Ty Davis is playing zone. He's reading the quarterback's eyes, and see the incidental contact by Davis as he's going to try to make a tackle. Those are times where you want to try and throw it behind your receiver, or even as a receiver, sit down to avoid that contact.
Lewis back to the sidelines. Temple takes over in the red zone. Ty Davis, new life for the Owls after his first interception of this season. And here's where Temple has to respond with a touchdown.
Correct, and for me, I don't wait. I don't run pass. I take a shot in the end zone right now. You see 4 DBs deep, so Oklahoma knows that's like likely scenario. Take a shot now.
They'll fake the pop pass with a handoff, lofted front pylon. It was caught, but it was out of bounds. Peter Clark, one of the top pass catchers for Evan Simon this season. The tight end at 6'6" has the frame. Did he get 1 foot down?
Well, he doesn't get a foot down, but I like the play call. Just needed to be a better pass. Lead Peter Clark. He's 6'6", he's 270. No, he's not the fleetest of foot, but he has a step. So instead of having this back shoulder idea, lead him about a step earlier.
Heavy pressure. Dominic Williams. 2nd and 10, a little trickeration. They want to throw it. Buying a little bit of time. Giovanni McCoy. First time we've seen the 2 quarterbacks on the field at the same time today. We were told we would see it fairly often. It'll be 3rd down.
It was the first time they've had a real opportunity to be able to get something going offensively. There's been nothing that's worked so far. So now all of a sudden you get a chance to get into your bag as a play caller and start to draw up some of those plays you've been waiting for in the red zone.
Casey Keeler back to the drawing board. Owls gifted the turnover in the red zone by Ty Davis. And Evan Simon pay it off. He'll keep it. No room to run. Corralled quickly behind the 15. Now Dominic Williams again active after the turnover, and heavy penetration with Grayson Halton as well.
And I don't like that play call, Roy. You already have a field goal. It's an obvious field goal range. Go back to that bag of tricks and run. You're in the link. Run a Philly special. Run something to try and get the ball in the end zone. The field goal is nearly guaranteed. You're at your own 12 or 13 yard line, at least before the play. So I don't like that play.
Here's Carl Harden. 4th and 13, a 34-yard attempt from just inside that left hash. And Harden's able to sneak it through. First points, the first half Oklahoma has given up this season. But Temple on the board and within 3 scores at 25-3.
Correct, and if you're Temple, it's great that there are points on the board, but man, you got to be frustrated. You get a critical turnover in the low red zone. You have 3 opportunities to get the ball in the end zone. You don't make them count. So the fact that you have points here, it's good, but you start to wonder, will it be enough field goals versus this high-powered Oklahoma offense?
25-3, and Peter Clark had a chance on that pass floated towards the front pylon, and Simon with that heavy pressure.
Yeah, and if you just lead him a little bit.
Right into our cameraman, Dirk, who fell backwards. Hazardous job at times, Sam, down there on the football field. Hopefully Dirk will be okay. He's getting some medical attention right now.
Dirk's a good athlete, though, so I'm hoping he's strong. That was a hard hit. I want to be close to the field. Hopefully Dirk is okay.
You've been on the sidelines for a lot of games before, taking in the action. Has it ever come close?
It came too close for comfort. I got hit by a punt in pregame in my face.
Today?
Not today, not at all.
I was going to say, I kind of want to see it.
It was not fun. It hurt.
Ensuing kickoff. Out of bounds. And Oklahoma outstanding field position after the infraction. So take a look at this week's college football rankings.
The ball be placed on the 35-yard line. First down.
Brought to you by Allstate. And only one team in action thus far. Oregon on the road. That 9 a.m. Pacific time kick in Evanston. Off and running with a 17-0 lead. What else interests you here?
Man, number 5, Miami versus South Florida. South Florida beat Boise. Week 1, they beat Florida last week, and they are playing with their quarterback, Byron Brown, an impressive style of football. Miami, though, Carson Beck and their defense have been great, but that's the matchup I've got my eye on. It's Miami playing Southern Florida, who's the true team in Florida.
Alex Golesh, the head coach for the Bulls, and they win that game. You look at the rest of their schedule and what they've already gone through, the gauntlet against the Gators, Boise State, and Miami. Very well positioned. Reach the college football playoff. Blaylock will be stopped by Ordonez. Nominal pickup on first down.
Critical opportunity for Temple. If Oklahoma scores here, they get the ball back to start the second half. If you keep them out of the end zone and maybe you get 3 points, now you have confidence going into halftime.
Burks in motion, 2nd and 10. Mateer to the edge. Mateer with a first down. Well, the power, the speed of John Mateer, the vision that time, extending this Oklahoma drive.
And I like the decision that time. Notice, most often he's looking down the field. This time, when he decided he was going to run, he tucked his head down, put the ball, 5 points of pressure, and got the first down.
2-minute timeout.
After a gain of 15, the 2-minute timeout as we step aside. Kevin, we cannot wait here in Philadelphia. Oklahoma on the move from midfield at the end of our second quarter. Sooners with all 3 timeouts remaining. Handoff. Blaylock pushes the pile ahead for a first down. 5'11", 203 pounds. He's played bigger than that frame so far this afternoon.
And he's a true freshman, so he's played as if he's been here before.
60 yards in the half. Trying to add to that tally, and he will. Blaylock racing out of bounds near the 30. Gain of nearly 9.
And Javier Moore, number 15 for Temple, he had the edge. He set the edge, but he stopped his feet. You never want to stop your feet to try to make a tackle. Otherwise, the offensive player is going to dip in and go out, just like we saw Blaylock do.
Temple able to cash in the field goal after the interception by Mateer deep in the red zone. First points Oklahoma has given up in the first half this season. Blaylock again back to the well once more on 2nd and short. That's a first down.
And I like the patience in which Ben Arbuckle is calling this possession. He understands that he could have taken a shot early. He had his opportunity, but he wants to try and run down some of the clock and then get his score. Just efficiency with clock management. I appreciate it.
Quarterback at Division II West Texas A&M, Ben Arbuckle, at 29 years old. Architect of this new OU offense. Into the flats, off the screen, Satania has a little can't miss in him, and another first down. Gain of 14. You mentioned the injuries at wide receiver a year ago for Oklahoma. Really all
Officials
five.
timeout for an injury.
Their top wideouts were banged up. The identity for the offense just totally dissipated. There was a change in coordinator middle portion of the year. And this year, Sam, it looks totally different.
It does, and it's part of it is Satania, part of it is Keontez Lewis, Deion Burks, but the other part of it is the coordinator understanding that I have weapons. I want to get the ball to my weapons quickly.
Oh, you did have an injured wide receiver, Keontez Lewis, moments ago. Marilyn, what's the update?
Was eventually allowed out of the injury tent by the training staff and did sit on the bench where the wide receivers sit. The staff asked him, do you want to stay or do you want to go ahead and go to the locker room? And they eventually did convince him to walk off the field on his own, and he is in the locker room now.
Lewis in the locker room, play lock to the edge. With the cut inside the 10. OU imposing its will against this Temple defensive front. Morton a tackle with 43 seconds remaining in the half. Timeout is called.
Timeout, Oklahoma. The first of the half, be 30 seconds in length.
What were your impressions, our conversations with Ben Arbuckle? Obviously very young, 5 years removed from coaching at Seminole High School in Texas. He's made his mark on college football early in his career.
Well, I was impressed more than anything by my interaction with him in person, right? You got to be in person to really get a good feel for people. On Zoom, it was fine, but in person, on the field, before the game, he had such a level of intensity to him. I mean, he was acting as if he was a 30-point underdog. He does not want the level of play to dip at all, no matter who the opponent is. And that intensity stood out to me more than anything.
And we asked him a number of questions about how he's gotten to this point, and also about his quarterback, John Mateer, whose numbers impressive again. And he said the big thing about John is in the locker room, he's got the ability to connect with anybody on this team, on this roster. That's a difference maker, especially in crunch time or when facing adversity. Javonte Barnes on the field again, a pistol look. He'll try to roll out Mateer. He'll get rid of it as he was tumbling down. And Ty Davis has been active in these last couple of minutes.
Incomplete pass. Number 86 was in the area.
So we'll say Carson Kent was around, no intentional grounding.
Yeah, but going back to my impressions of Mateer, it wasn't only that, but there was this opportunity the coaches told us about where there was a voluntary workout. And not enough people showed up to the voluntary workout. And John Mateer, the guy you see on your screen, sent out a group text and said, I need everybody here. The next day, they all showed up. So that leadership permeates to the season.
Bunch look bottom of the screen with 4 OU wideouts on third down. Less than 40 seconds to go. Quarterback draw, Mateer. Tries to get to the perimeter, and he cannot. Bumped out hard at the 11. Temple defense with a stand, and now let's see what Brent Venables wants to do.
I love Mateer's confidence and all the things, but this to me looks like a clean and legal hit. But he's taking too many of these. Like, if you start looking at the big picture and the landscape of what Oklahoma wants to do, if he keeps on taking these hits, those can wear and tear on your body. So that's the time where you have to know when it's not there and try to avoid a hit like that.
Sandell has already one long field goal today after a miss last week early against Michigan. Now 2 for 2 in Philadelphia, and the lead back to 25. 29-yard effort is true. John Mateer, good start on the road in season number 1 in Norman. Remember, he's got one more year of eligibility after this one, and he can do so many different things. His escapability, Sam, on full display.
It's almost not fair, because as a defender, you think you have him and you don't. And then you think, okay, he's going to run it, and he doesn't. He passes it, and then he passes it like that. So it just makes you frustrated as a defensive player and a defensive coordinator, because the first thing that you try to do likely will not work. If you take away the run, he's going to pass. Take away the pass, he's going to run. Try to keep him bottled up, he'll be patient enough and just outrun you to the edge. John Mateer is a weapon for this offense.
It's amazing to think Mateer and Cam Ward in the same locker room at Washington State 2 years ago. And who knows about the draft status of Oklahoma's new starting quarterback in the future. Cam Ward went #1 overall, Tennessee Titans. Mateer has a lot of college football potentially in front of him. Yeah, but getting down out of bounds for absorbing those big hits could be a big deal this season.
We'll talk a lot about him playing, especially in the SEC. You're going to be bigger humans hitting you. I remember playing with Colt McCoy and playing against Alabama in the national championship, and he took a big hit by Marcel Darius that injured him for the rest of the game. So these are just things to be aware of as the season goes along.
Tyler Stewart from the 3. And dragged down from behind, the lasso tackle by Fry. Coming up, 3:30 Eastern today on ABC. Number 6 Georgia heads up north to Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. Take on number 15 Tennessee. Then later tonight in primetime, the Florida Gators and Billy Napier, DJ Lagway head over to Death Valley at LSU in Baton Rouge, 7:30. Both games also available on the all-new ESPN app.
Florida, Roy, has a gauntlet ahead of them. Their next 3 games are against top 10 opponents, and it's not looking good, at least last week when they played South Florida for the Gators.
Casey Keeler content to nail this one down. The final play, the first half dominated by the visitors out of the SEC. 28-3 our halftime score, and OU gets the football to start the second half. Send you to the Voya halftime report right now with Kevin Connors and Trevor Maddich. Gentlemen. And welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Tums here at the Link. 2 quarters in the books. It is all Oklahoma. The Sooners trying to improve to 3-0 on this young season, leading Temple 28-3. Take a look at our first half stats brought to you by Tums. John Mateer, Tory Blaylock. Pick your poison. Oklahoma efficient on O.
And I love the physicality of Tory Blaylock. There's a certain type of DNA that OU wants to have, and they're putting that on display.
They call it OU DNA on social media. And that DNA has translated into a top 15 ranking as the Sooners get set to receive our second half kickoff. Now Auburn comes to town in Norman next week. Temple will be on the road in the ACC at Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets and the Clemson Tigers. And the Mad Dash in Atlanta on the flats right now over on ESPN. Great week 3 of college football underway, and you know the upsets are coming, but so far here in Philly that has not been the case. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Marilyn Payne, so glad you could join us today. Look, Oklahoma, they put the clamps down on defense. The offense has been efficient. Everything rolling in the right direction.
And I love that there's been no lull from this Oklahoma team. Offensively, they've been extremely efficient. Defensively has been dominant, and special teams has been effective as well. So that's what you want to see if you want to be championship caliber.
Brent Venables wanting to be championship caliber this season and expecting to be in that conversation in the college football playoff come November. A team that struggled to find its way last year, dealing with injuries, now a new identity with a quarterback and an offensive coordinator. Isaiah Satania continues his good work, leading receiver so far for OU, an 8-yard gain and his 6th catch of the game.
They're still going with that quick hurry-up tempo. There's a certain mindset you have as an offense to keep pressure on defenses, no matter what the score is. So I love that mindset on display.
Blaylock, freshman from the Lone Star State, on second and short, picks up a yard. Chroma tackle. Be 3rd down and 1.
And we were talking about not necessarily just Tory Blaylock, but even this Oklahoma running game. I spoke with one of the people associated with the team. They talked about DeMarco Murray and his style of coaching, and how you saw him right there on your screen, how he wants his backs to be physical. They said he's one of the toughest coaches you could ever imagine. So that's why you see this physicality from all these running backs that are on the field for Oklahoma.
On third down, quarterback keeper, and Mateer is spun down backwards. Cameron Stewart, first time we've called his name today, and arguably the best player on this Temple defense. Him and Chroma able to get it done.
And Cameron Stewart is a guy whose name we need to hear more if this Temple team wants to stay in this game. He's 6'5", 250 from Governor Mifflin High School, but man, he is a dominant football player. We haven't got a chance to see it just yet. We got a chance to see it right now.
Grayson Miller, Oklahoma punter again today. Back on the field, JoJo Bermudez, the speedster. Back deep. Delaware transfer for Temple. Fair catch made at the 15 after a punt of 52. Moments ago, Maryland Payne caught up with OU head coach Brent Venables.
How do you assess overall the offensive production that you guys have put out there in the first half?
Yeah, again, we've scored 6 possessions. You know, my favorite part of the game there was after the turnover, the defensive response knocked them back 7 yards, held them to a field goal. They could have gave them a little bit of hope going into half, and then the offense after the turnover going back and get the ball, 10-play, 63-yard drive for kick it in for the field goal. So a really good, moment for our guys about refusing to flinch and complimenting each other there.
Thanks for the time.
Appreciate it.
Maryland, thank you. OU defensively, Sam, has given up 63 total yards in this game.
And make it 62 because that was for a 1-yard loss. There's nothing inside available for Temple. Their only chance and opportunity is some of the intermediate passing game and then to block everything up. 6- and 7-man protection, tight end and running back block to give your quarterback Evan Simon a little bit more time.
Good math by you on the fly.
St. Mark School of Texas, baby.
Second down and 11 after the TFL. Williams will get in the backfield that time. Simon under pressure, throws it into the turf here at the link. Jaden Jackson, a rude introduction, the veteran quarterback for the Owls.
Yeah, Jaden Jackson's a guy that a lot of OU fans are excited about. In his second year, he was on one of the all-freshman teams last year. He's a physical human being. So when you turn on the tape with him, he knocks people back with violence.
He's got the hair as well. Able to get into the backfield, wreak havoc. Third down and long. Temple has lived in this moment for most of the afternoon. 3-man pressure off the twist. Simon sails it out of bounds. Haven't seen a lot of separation with Bermudez and Colin Chase against this Oklahoma secondary so far.
Yeah, and that was against one of the younger players, Guillory. He's a true freshman who they're really, really excited about. But it's been all Oklahoma. Whether it's been the defensive line, the linebackers, the corners, they've done a good job of playing together.
5-3 announced force by this Oklahoma defense. Satania standing at his own 44. And gets rid of it. Satania going to be tackled quickly and driven down. Sooners get it back, leading by 25 here in Philadelphia. to 3. Oklahoma leading Temple. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Maryland Payne. So glad you could join us this afternoon. It is a Chamber of Commerce weekend in Philadelphia. Even the Phillies finding ways to come back and win games as they've done all season. Mateer on the field behind Satania. The coverage by Avery Powell. You ever been to a baseball game here?
I have not. I have not.
They get into it. Kyle Schwarber will bat leadoff, maybe second in the batting order. Hits like 250, but bombs in like 55 home runs this season.
I couldn't imagine just the excitement being a Phillies fan and going to play. Be unbelievable.
Right across the street at the bank here from the link. Great sports town. Mateer all afternoon is surveyed incomplete. Carson Kent was open. And Mateer sent it too high.
And that'd be a time where you want to change the speed and the trajectory of your throw. You're seeing a lot of fastballs. Do a little changeup, right? Get that one over the outstretched defender and then land it right in the bucket.
Matier just 4 incomplete passes in his last 12 attempts. 217 yards through the air. 3rd and 10, pressure, backside, Matier escapes. Long ways to go. He absorbs the contact, stops short of the line to gain. Cameron Stewart, and another hit with the pressure coming in.
That was a great job by Cameron Stewart. He's the right defensive end, number 25. He does a great chop move on the outside to force pressure. Should have been a sack fumble, but once again, John Matier does his thing and avoids the sack. Still takes the hit.
So it's been a punting contest to begin our 3rd quarter. JoJo Bermudez back on the field, as is Grayson Miller. Matier on the sidelines for Oklahoma. Scored this game a year ago in Norman, 51-3 in the season opener. Just the 3rd overall meeting between these two. The series was penciled in with a contract back in 2016. Joe Castiglione inking that deal for this home and home, and for Brent Venables, you go back to his time in the old Big 12 or the Big 8 back in the day. Kansas State linebacker, and now as the defensive coordinator at Clemson before becoming the head coach at Oklahoma. If you go year by year, Sam, the improvement, points per game, points given up, very similar trajectory to what he did at Clemson, calling plays there. And the key there is in year number 4, Clemson played for a national championship.
It's the culture. That's what you get built, not just in year 1 or year 2, but 3 and 4.
2 penalty markers come in on the incompletion. Grayson Halton.
Personal foul, roughing the passer with a high hit. That's a 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Halton got a fingertip on the pass, but the infraction costs OU 15.
And here's your Mason Thomas, number 32. He's a dominant edge defender. You see that contact to the head. That's why they're calling that personal foul. Wasn't a targeting, no, but you cannot hit the quarterback high in the head or neck area.
Our Mason Thomas didn't like it, but that's exactly right. 15-yard penalty. That'll move the football up to the 35-yard line.
Got to be frustrating for our Mason Thomas. He's one of the best edge rushers in college football, but he's not really getting opportunities in this game because of the style of the game.
The previous play is under further review for a potential targeting.
Now this becomes significant given the opponent next week. SEC play underway. Auburn comes to town, and a targeting infraction in the second half.
Correct. So now this is different than we had in the first half. The first half, it was targeting with the crown of the helmet that they were looking for. Now it's targeting for a defenseless player. A quarterback in a passing posture is defenseless. So there are 3 aspects of targeting. Number 1 is a player defenseless. Yes. Number 2, is there contact to the head or neck area? Yes. Number 3, which is most important because you need all 3, there has to be an indicator of targeting, which is a launch, a forward, an upward thrust, or leading with the head. The reason they're going back and looking at this play is they're trying to say, did our Mason Thomas lead with his head and that there was forcible contact? That's what they're trying to find. So this is not a crown of the helmet issue. You notice he didn't use his crown, but it is a defensive player. Forcible contact. That's the part that's kind of up in the air, and then leading with his head.
Can I ask you the very simple question?
Yes.
When you watch the replay, does that look like targeting?
Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't feel like targeting, put it that way. It doesn't feel like targeting when I watch the replay because the contact doesn't look forcible.
After further review, there was targeting on the play. Number 32 has been disqualified.
Coming in the second half, you know what that means for next week?
That means he's out the first half versus Auburn. Huge, huge issue. Now, let's start with the targeting first. We talked about it. So it was a defenseless player, quarterback in a passing posture. They did consider the contact forcible, and the last piece was that our Mason Thomas led with his head because he didn't launch, nor was there an upward thrust. So that's why they called that play targeting. Didn't feel like targeting to me, but it looked like targeting to the officials. Right here, we're going to see the leading with the head. They call that forcible. That's why they're making the call. But now moving forward, Auburn is not Temple. What I mean by that is Auburn, they're going to try and throw the ball as well. R. Mason Thomas is a pass rusher being out for the first half is going to be huge.
The penalty, the targeting, Thomas this afternoon is done. Masigo makes a tackle here after a 1-yard gain. And Temple trying to be the hang-around team's got some work to do. If it could get a touchdown on a possession like this, try to work its way back into this game. But honestly, Sam, Owls only 63 total yards. Oklahoma has held Temple at arm's length since the opening kickoff. 25-point lead. SEC versus the American. And Worthy trying to go back against the grain. No avail. Loss of 2. The tackle by Wine.
Well, I just want to put a button on the R. Mason Thomas convo. Maybe we'll continue it. He was not a factor in this game. Not because he's not a good player, but because Temple hasn't had a lot of plays and they weren't going to pass it very much. But for Hugh Freeze and that offense that does run a lot of run-pass option, I get it. Jackson Arnold, he's more of a runner. But that will be a big loss for the first half next week.
Jackson Arnold, former Oklahoma quarterback, coming back to Norman. Needing a change of pace after last season. 3rd down and 11. Penalty marker comes in. The pass will be spotted
Holding.
2 yards short.
Number 71 offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay 3rd down.
Jacoby Hills. Instead of 4th and 2, it'll now be 3rd and even longer for Casey Keeler's team.
It's got to be frustrating because as soon as you start getting a little bit of momentum and things starting to lean your way, you just go backwards over and over and over again. Sometimes it's because of the defense. Sometimes it's because of you. That's a holding penalty. It's not just a tackle for loss or an incomplete pass. You're beating yourself at times, and that's the frustrating part for Casey Keeler.
3rd and 21. Evan Simon, 8 of 17 passing. He's been sacked twice. OU with 8 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Dump it off. Racing out of bounds is Bermudez. Just a 5-yard gain. And the punt team will trot on the field. The Temple Owls.
Where I will say this, OU DNA or culture, whatever you want to call it, there was something different about those guys on the field earlier in the game. There was a sense of togetherness, a sense of like they brought their own culture. BYOJ, they brought their own juice. And that culture and that juice translate, it carries over no matter where you are. So that impressed me before the game even started.
7 straight stops on 3rd down for the Oklahoma defense. Satania, the fair catch. After a punt of 34, Sooners get it back. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Tums. OU leading Temple 28-3. John Mateer, the latest transfer quarterback. You think back to some of the recent additions via the portal. Baker Mayfield, of course, Heisman Trophy winner, #1 overall pick. Kyler Murray, essentially the same thing the following year. Jalen Hurts, incredible performance, Super Bowl MVP with the Eagles here in town. Dylan Gabriel, forget about him. 1-year stop in between UCF and Oregon. And then now John Mateer from Washington State, perhaps 2 seasons in Norman. ... What will that lead to for the young signal caller?
It's been impressive. There's been an impressive run of QBs at Oklahoma, and not just collegiate QBs, but success in the NFL. Baker Mayfield, one of the top passers last year. Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl.
Around the right edge. Satania still on his feet, brought down inside the 40. Now, Mateer has cooled off a little bit in the last quarter. That's a gain of 28.
Well, part of it's by design. They've been handing off the ball to guys and giving them speed and space. This is more of a push pass. It's going to count as passing yards for Mateer, but Satania is a speedy guy.
Time for Mateer. Tried to dump it across the middle to Robinson, and the pass was batted down right at the line of scrimmage. Mateer, 6'1" frame. 2nd and 10. KJ Miles may have gotten a fingertip on it.
Seeing them slow down the pace just a little bit. Not as much quick game, not as much tempo, not as much hurry up, but they're still attacking the edges of this Temple defense.
Mateer off the back foot, rifles a shot down the field. And no catch for a moment. Carrion had possession. Hit the turf and the ball popped out right in your kitchen here, Sam.
Man, what a perfectly placed ball by Mateer, and Carrion almost gets it to the Carry Dome. Right hand to the dome, one hand to his helmet. Nearly made the catch, unfortunately couldn't bring it down.
Good news is our cameraman Dirk, that was not him involved in that play after what transpired in our first 2 quarters. Mateer 2 of 3 on third down for those 35 yards. 3rd and 10 here. Sooners in control, looking for more. Mateer, Kanak, first down and goal. Well, Kanak, you remember a year ago against Temple, had the fumble return as a linebacker for a touchdown. He's been active on offense today.
And he's in man-to-man. Look at him, just winning man-to-man coverage. Runs a simple corner route. He stacks the defender, Powell, and makes a play. That's impressive for a guy who used to play defense.
4 catches, 86 yards today. Jaron Kanak. The big personalities on the Sooners roster. That corner and incomplete. Carrion was the intended target. Castleberry in coverage. Kind of a lull to begin our 3rd quarter between these two sides, and credit Oklahoma's defense. Gone nowhere after halftime. Brent Venables told Marilyn Payne just moments ago he was so impressed with how that defense stood tall after the turnover, the interception tossed by Mateer. Can the offense now regain its rhythm? Into the flats, to the edge, and across the goal line for the touchdown, Xavier Robinson. First score of the season for the sophomore. And the Sooners on the board and rolling once again in Philadelphia.
Love the play by Mateer. He's fading away. He knows that Robinson has an edge on the defense, and Robinson just catches the ball and doesn't try to cut back and use his power or strength. No, just run to open grass, stretch that ball in front of the end zone, and get a score.
Tate Sandell. Up and through. 35-3. Nearly halfway home in our 3rd quarter. Let's take a look at the player spotlight, brought to you by Tecovas, as the Sooners continue to pour it on against the Temple Owls. And it is Jaron Kanak, a multi-talented tight end, former linebacker. Not only the 4 catches today for 86, the 2-point conversion. First touchdown of the game for OU.
He's a leader for this team. We talked to Ben Arbuckle, and he said, never have I seen a guy that's not the quarterback be such a film junkie. This guy's in the room before the quarterbacks, and he's out after him. You see him, he's going to recover a fumble on special teams, and on defense, he's an attacking, aggressive, physical player. Played the last 3 years at linebacker, but it's not just that. He can throw the ball as well. Had a 2-point conversion pass for a touchdown here as a quarterback, if you will. No-look pass. And then he's catching passes, not just this week, but all season long.
Now you think back to what he's done today with those 4 receptions. 3 of the 4 have given Oklahoma first down, coming on 3rd down. So he's been clutch, not to mention the 2-point play. And you may ask yourself, why are you running that right now? You may need that play later in the season. Well, now everyone in the SEC's got to prepare and spend time on kind of a wonky 2-point play. As we check in again with Marilyn Payne with more on Jaron Kanak.
Jaron Kanak said he, yes, is a film junkie, always has been, but he says film's so much more fun to watch now. Before, you're just watching yourself stop the run. And he said, hey, no offense to anybody who still likes watching defense better, but it's so much more fun to go back and watch us run it up on guys. He also said that the big transition for him has included incorporating better care for his body in a similar sense. He said as a linebacker, you're just dropping back 15 to 20 yards, but as a tight end, you are running so much more. You're getting physical blocking, and you're going the length of the field.
Kanak originally committed to Clemson in the recruiting process when Brent Venables was still in Tigertown, and then followed Coach V to Norman when he became the head coach. Brent Venables won 2 national titles with the Tigers in the ACC, and of course a national championship at OU as well under Bob Stoops. He's trying to get this program back to the college football playoff and have a chance to bring another title to the Palace on the Prairie. 2nd and 6. 4-yard run by Jay Ducker. Simon's going to keep it and go nowhere. He'll lose a yard. Kip Lewis.
This is when it gets fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. As a defensive player, when you know the offense can't do anything. They can't run the ball. They can't throw it downfield. And I'm not saying you're here to pad your stats, but it's here to put good film on display. So you get a chance to have fun and work on communication and playing with joy.
Brent Venables, defensive play caller once again. Right in his wheelhouse. I think he's more comfortable in that role as opposed to just being the head coach and the CEO and a consultant. 3rd down and long. Bermudez spun backwards. And Peyton Bowen able to keep him to just a 2-yard gain. I mean, you can feel that energy in our conversations with him this week. There's a tactical shift for him on the sidelines this season, but instead of him in the background suggesting plays, thinking this is what we need to do, planting the seed, if you will, with whoever was technically calling the plays, he's the guy doing it. And it's how he made a name for himself, going back to his original days at OU.
But he hasn't taken off the head coaching hat fully. I love the conversation we had with him this week, talking about the length of the season and how they want to peak at the right time. He said he's been a part of teams that had early success and faltered later. He doesn't want to be a part of one of those teams.
Adding a low punt actually will be somewhat impressive in the box score tomorrow. Give them 46. 35-3. Oklahoma gets it back after this. Bobby Dodd Stadium certainly coming alive with Clemson in town for the first time in 5 years. That been a nail biter. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Marilyn Payne back in Philadelphia. An explosive run again for Blaylock. And he'll ramble out of bounds close to midfield, a gain of 25. Number 6 in crimson and cream. Now the freshman running back over 100 yards for the first time. 14 carries, 7.1 per touch. That's a good afternoon at the office.
Yeah, and he's doing it every which way. You're seeing the explosive runs, the physical runs. He can catch out of the backfield as well. OU fans have something to be excited about.
Leading by 32. Mateer with a keeper. There goes John Mateer to the end zone and the house call. Now he came into this game as a leading rusher for the Sooners. 51 more yards there in the score.
Yeah, you're going to see a great block by number 71, Logan Howland, who's filling in for the true freshman, Michael Fasusi. Zone read, the defense doesn't do their job. They think it's going to be handed off because it has been over and over and over again. And Mateer explodes for a big play.
41-3. 5:04 remaining in our 3rd quarter. Oklahoma defense that's yielded just 71 yards today. Offensively, nearly 450, with Mateer now accounting for the 4th rushing touchdown of this game.
Well, when they say untouched, we're serious about that. Logan Howland's on the edge, number 71. He's filling in. He just stays on his guy. Look at him just turn it, and it's wide open. Derek Simmons, number 66, the right tackle who pulled around, leads the way. Unfortunately, he can't keep up. He's 6'5", he's 300. You're not John Mateer, but you don't have to be. Unbelievable job by this offensive line scheming up the perfect play at the right time.
A lot of Javante Barnes, Torrey Blaylock, and John Mateer, the quarterback from Washington State. Think back to his time there just 2 years ago. Him and Cam Ward in that same locker room on the Palouse. Future number 1 overall pick in the draft, and now a junior in John Mateer. A lot of college football left in front of him. Marilyn Payne, the question is, why did Mateer follow Cam Ward down to Miami from Wazoo?
11 lot once he hit the transfer portal, and he said Cam didn't tell me to go to Miami because he knew I wouldn't. John Mateer said he wants to carve his own path. He does not want to be the next Cam Ward. So I said, how do you feel if we give you the comp on the broadcast? He started laughing and he said, yeah, I'll take it after what he did last year, though.
Who's not taking a comp of a #1 overall pick?
Titans had a chance to pull off an upset at Denver in week 1. Couldn't do it. Ward was under pressure. And that went back into the end zone awkwardly for the touchback. The WNBA playoffs tip off Sunday. Once again, we'll have all 4 first-round matchups. Same format as the last few years. Best of 3 in each series. Valkyries and Lynx begin at 1 Eastern on ESPN, with Fever and Dream at 3 o'clock on ABC. Storm Aces tip at 10 Eastern. Liberty Mercury coverage starts at 5 Eastern. Both games on ESPN to wrap up the day. All 4 also available in the all-new ESPN app. Nafisa Collier, what a season she has enjoyed, and perhaps 50, 40, 90. What a season with those efficiency numbers there. Could she be the MVP? Or will it be Asia Wilson once again? Owls get it back after the John Mateer touchdown. Worthy has tackled Omosigo after a gain of 4.
Talking about putting on a performance, this Oklahoma defense has 7 3-and-outs. That's more than the first downs they have allowed by Temple. Only 4 first downs allowed. So this is a clinic on how to shut down an opponent.
I didn't realize you had beef with tight ends. We discovered that today.
Oh, yeah, I still got beef. You know, I played a little bit of tight end in high school, tight end and defensive end.
What happened?
I was better at defense. It was a lot more fun.
You like to hit.
Yes.
Simon, back shoulder toss and incomplete. Peter Clark, second time he's been targeted today. And the coverage by Owen Heineke, the walk-on former lacrosse standout from Ohio State.
I got beef with lacrosse players too, I ain't gonna lie to you. Let me tell you why. Because in high school, our football team, all the guys on football started to all play lacrosse and stopped playing football. And our head coach, I'm not going to say his name, but you can look it up. Our head coach was also coaching lacrosse, and his focus shifted. And I'm like, dude, I want to go to the NFL or college or something. So tight ends and lacrosse players are two groups of people I have beef with.
I think it worked out quite well for you regardless. Brent Venables said lacrosse players are tough, except he used a different selection of words in describing it. Omosigo able to bat that one down, and Heineke, he's got a lot of football left in front of him this year. The transfer from Ohio State, and he played lacrosse for the Buckeyes just 4 years ago, Sam.
And to be honest, to be a lacrosse player, you have to be extremely athletic, which he is. Great hand-eye coordination, which he has. And also you have to be tough and physical. He has that aspect to his game as well. Transferred from Ohio State, was a lacrosse player there. Now he's making plays for the Sooners.
Atten off the side of the foot on a 45-degree angle straight out of bounds. It was grabbed down there cleanly. The Oklahoma sidelines. Looks like Brown was able to catch it.
That's been a surprising performance for Atten so far. He's a guy that has been on the Ray Guy Award watch list for the best punter. And so far we've seen 3, 4, maybe even 5 punts that have either been off the side of his foot or just missed punts.
A brief moment of fame there for Trey Brown, wide receiver, for a punt of just 19 yards. And so with John Mateer on the sidelines, a new quarterback, the game plan in Norman this year for Michael Hawkins Jr. is to redshirt him, the sophomore from Dallas and Emerson High School. Brent Venables confirmed that this week. But in 2025, you can still play in as many as 4 games and protect that red shirt. And Hawkins of the dual threat variety as well. You see the wheels for the Dallas native, a gain of 5.
And one thing he is known for is his speed and his athleticism. He's showing it off, the sophomore from Dallas.
Coach Venables said we are preparing for Michael every single week to play as many as 70 or 80 snaps if need be, in case the unthinkable happens to the starting quarterback John Mateer. But the game plan ideally would be to redshirt him and protect this year of eligibility. Hawkins straight ahead, first down and more. Still on his feet. Give him 15.
And notice, different from John Mateer. Mateer, he's going to try and sit in the pocket. Michael Hawkins, if it's not there, he's tucking it and he's running. Great vision, great feel, great speed. He's slippery as a runner. But more than anything, these are valuable reps for Michael Hawkins Jr. because he gets a chance to be in this offense with Ben Arbuckle and understand what it's like just in case Mateer goes down.
Javier Morton just limped off the field, 15. The Temple defense. Sooners leading at 42-3. Oklahoma has not trailed, and the score tells the full story here in Philadelphia as we check in again with Marilyn Payne.
After the first run for Michael Hawkins Jr., John Mateer hopped up off the bench, interrupted the teammate who was talking to him and said, "I got to see this." He ran over to the sideline, and he's pointing, watching, cheering on his backup QB, saying, "That's my guy, that's my guy," telling the other Sooners along the sidelines how much he believes in him. He likes his game, guys.
What we've seen from Mateer, Maryland, in the locker room, so valuable. The chemistry for Oklahoma this season. Ben Arbuckle reminded us, Brent Venables did too, as Kearney was the intended receiver, covered by Chavis. Mateer's one of those players that can relate to anybody, any background, at any position in Norman this year. And that is a valuable asset to have as the team leader for this.
And it's not always normal, even if you're the quarterback, it's not always normal to be able to relate to different people with different backgrounds. So the fact that John Mateer has that leadership attribute in his waist belt, in his skill set, will help elevate everyone else around him.
Third and 10. Hawkins. The backside pressure, and he'll be flung down to the 35. Chroma able to break through that OU offensive line in a loss of 6 with the sack. The pressure coming in from Cameron Stewart.
Yeah, Cameron Stewart once again wins on the edge. He finds a way to get around to the quarterback. He misses on the sack again, but all the pressure inside, specifically by Sekou Chroma, helps this defense finally get some negative plays.
So here comes Austin Welch. Kennesaw State transfer, 14 of 18 in the field goal department last season. Tate Sandell has been perfect today. Now the backup place kicker. And a chance from 52. On the way and hooking wide left. Welch off the mark, 42-3. Remains our score with 96 seconds remaining here in our third quarter. Well, Brent Venables always active and excited, especially the way his team has performed so far this season. Sam, you watched today. We saw what happened last week against Michigan. Auburn comes to town next week to Norman, and this is a team that is on a trajectory that is trending upwards.
Well, if you look at their schedule to start the season, they were ranked to have the toughest schedule out of anyone in all of college football. But as you see some of the way their opponents are playing and the way that they're playing, specifically defensively, you start to favor them more in some of these matchups. You got Auburn next week. You have Texas a few weeks after that. So I'm excited about this Oklahoma football team. John Mateer is doing his part, but the defense finally looks like a Brent Venables defense.
Well, the schedule, I agree with you. I think that if you look at the FPI, all the indices out there, rating teams and projecting ahead.
Good word, indices.
The deeper we get into this season, I think the more OU is going to be favored. But the schedule, all 8 conference foes are ranked in the top 25 currently.
Yeah, but to your point, okay, you got Auburn, you got Jackson Arnold. Yes, he's coming back, but more than anything, that Texas game, Arch Manning's still trying to get his feet under him. So if this defense can play the way that they're playing and they played last week, could be tough for Texas. South Carolina, the team they play after Texas as well, Lenore Sellers is still an elite level quarterback, but the weapons around him seemingly have diminished. So that's what I mean when you get more excited about what Oklahoma's doing and what people around Oklahoma aren't doing. Ole Miss, Austin Simmons, their star quarterback is injured. Maybe he's going to play, maybe he's not. So there's so many question marks with their opponents, though they have those top 25 numbers behind them.
Could be the final play of our third quarter. Temple just 1 for 12 on third down, 0 for its last 9. Right at the chains. That should be enough for Colin Chase. Shoved out by Powers. And the Owls with a brief spark on offense here at the end of the third. Now, schedule aside, this team looks and is acting different to start 2025 compared to just 1 year ago. And it starts to feel more like what we saw out of Oklahoma 2 years ago when Brent Venables' team won 10 games. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. Back in Philadelphia. League already with a couple of impressive upset wins this year. South Florida and Army come to mind, but not the case today. Oklahoma ranked 13th, leading Temple 42-3. Nearly pitching a shutout. Samacho, Roy Philpott, Maryland Payne. 15 minutes to go. It has been the John Mateer show, but once again the OU defense back to its dominant ways. Worthy finally corralled after a 2-yard gain. Taylor Wine the tackle. Now later today you got South Florida trying to continue its winning ways against Miami. And then Duke travels to Tulane. The return of Darian Mensah to Ullman Stadium in primetime tonight right here on ESPN2. That's got some juice, Sam.
It does. Manny Diaz coaching up that Duke team and their defense. It's going to be a fun matchup with John Summerall and the Tulane team.
It's one of those games that Tulane has had circled on the calendar after Mensah left via the portal. Evan Simon rush for a first down. 2nd and 7. He'll pick up 8. Was on the call a week ago for Army's comeback win at K-State, 24-21. We mentioned the Bulls and their victory in the Swamp. What a scene that was. And then the Green Wave handling Northwestern out of the Big Ten in week 1.
Yeah, it's been impressive, specifically that South Florida win over Florida. It was a close game, but South Florida was dominant. They were more physically imposing, and they've got a big matchup today versus Miami, against a Miami team that is going to be ready for what they have to offer, put it that way.
James Nesta makes the stop. Alex Golesh, an incredible job he's done in Tampa, leading that Bulls comeback year number 3, a pair of 7 and 6 seasons before this year. They find a way to win this game and pull off another upset. South Florida is a top 10 team and maybe a top 5. A lot of ifs there, considering what Miami has looked like this season.
And it's not an outlandish statement. They would have 3 top 25 wins in their first 3 games. So to say they're not top 10 is probably more crazy than to say they are.
2nd and 12, Simon. Colin Chase. And a nominal pickup, tackled by Jordan. Give him 4 yards, it'll be 3rd down.
Roy, what is your prediction, South Florida and Miami?
I mean, it seems like a lot. That team could win 3 in a row like that. But Byron Brown and their defense, I mean, to be able to stymie DJ Lagway in Florida the way in which it did last week in the Swamp in a hostile environment, I expect that game to be close, at least in the second half. I thought you were going to go down the OU Texas route, which maybe at some point we'll get to. Bermudez came back for it. Should have enough to pick up the first down. Now JoJo Bermudez, one of the burners for head coach Casey Keeler. Good pitch and catch. And Evan Simon has Temple on the move again.
JoJo Bermudez, 5'9", 170. They talked about him not being the biggest guy, so getting him the ball on the edge, great example of that.
12 minutes remaining. Saw Oklahoma's schedule coming up for Temple. Owls will have a road trip to Atlanta next weekend. Georgia Tech currently leading Clemson 21-14 over on ESPN. Simon off the hesitation, the pump fake, and is walloped near the line of scrimmage. Marvin Jones Jr., first time we've called his name today. And transfer from Florida State, started his career at UGA. Big time talent, and perhaps now being realized in Norman with the Sooners.
And Roy, we can't go down the Texas OU matchup. You called it OU Texas. People listening may think OU Texas is a guy who went to Texas. We call it Texas OU. Look to have that conversation.
I mean, if you ask me right now, who's the better quarterback? Who's the more known commodity? That's an easy answer. Right now, it's John Mateer. Incomplete, and at the feet into the turf. Oklahoma is playing better football right now, in my opinion, than Texas. So I think that game, I mean, the Red River rivalry, you expect it to be close in a year like this one. Brent Venables was able to win that game 2 years ago, an entirely different story last year. I feel like Oklahoma is the better team thus far. And we got a couple of weeks to get there in early October. But I think if you're a fan of the Sooners, you feel very excited about what you've seen between the two teams at this point in the year.
Well, the scary part isn't even who they are right now. It's who they're becoming and who they'll be in October. This team is building confidence. They're steadily rolling as you're seeing them dominate on the football field as we speak.
Wyatt Gilmore forced the fumble off the sack.
You see Wyatt Gilmore coming off of the edge. Look at you see 7 guys up while Gilmore is unblocked. Not only does he get the sack, but he gets the fumble. So that's a sack, that's a tackle for loss, and a fumble. The last thing you want to try to do is recover it.
Now, Casey Keeler back to the drawing board after this game this weekend, and he has turned around programs everywhere he's been and won championships. Delaware and Sam Houston, and now kind of back near his home territory. He's got his house, was able to move into it finally just yesterday is what he told us, and he's been living in a hotel trying to get everything settled.
Timeout, Temple.
See what he can do the rest of this season as we step aside in Philadelphia. High drama down in the ATL. Kevin and Trevor, thank you so much. Back in Philadelphia, it is all Oklahoma. John Mateer's afternoon has ended. Michael Hawkins Jr., new Oklahoma quarterback in the Sooners' last possession. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Maryland Payne. Satania the fair catch, and a timeout at the link. Well, back here at the home of the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, 42-3. Oklahoma playing like a champion today. Plenty of connections between the Sooners and the Eagles. Tommy McDonald, Keith Jackson, incredible tight end, 2-time All-American, 3-time Pro Bowler here in Philly. Lane Johnson, 2-time Super Bowl champion, originally arrived in Norman as a quarterback, and of course the MVP Jalen Hurts, the year with the Sooners, and now the Super Bowl champion here in the city of brotherly love.
So much, not just talent, but those guys are winners. Like Lane Johnson, Jalen Hurts, some of those guys are winners. That's what I love to see.
Hawkins back on the field, lofts one deep and incomplete on the fade to Jermichael Carter. So back to the OU Texas conversation.
Yep, Texas OU, correct.
Subject to change as we get closer. But from what I've seen, I think Oklahoma's got a great chance to win that game. And that's a night and day difference compared to a year ago between those two.
No, you're totally right. Oklahoma looks like the better team at this moment. But the best thing about rivalry games like that is that you almost never know who is going to win. Someone makes a big play early or a big play late in matchups like that. But to your point, OU is ascending at the right time.
To the left side to Robinson, and Xavier with a late penalty marker coming in. Alu shoved him out.
Holding, 71, offense, half the distance to the goal. Second down.
Logan Howland is the guilty party. That's the best part about college football.
Correction. The holding foul has been declined. It will be third down.
Third and long coming up for the Sooners. We'll get to that game, and the storylines and narrative could have shifted multiple times.
Yeah, and even better, just matchups like that, rivalry games like that, you never know who's going to be the hero. You never know who. A couple years ago, we saw Dylan Gabriel become the hero with some of his quarterback red zone runs. And you've seen block punt, you've seen special teams, you've seen punt return touchdowns, kick return touchdowns. So those are some of the most exciting times. These players played against each other in high school. Now they're doing it in college.
Hawkins steps up, eludes the pressure, tripped up short of the 10. Thinking out loud for one more moment on that. Mateer versus Manning. And that'll get the blood boiling a little bit for America. I mean, everybody's going to be talking about that quarterback matchup.
But as much as they'll talk about the matchup, it's the defenses that are going to matter in that game. It's going to be Brent Venables trying to do what Matt Patricia was able to do at Ohio State and just confuse Manning. It'll be Michael Taft, the All-American, preseason All-American safety, going to try to slow down John Mateer. Those are the matchups I'm excited about.
Sooners will get Auburn next week. Return of Jackson Arnold, then Kent State, and then all eyes turn into the Metroplex, October 11th. Got an open date sandwich in at the end of September, a little bit of a respite. Joe Bermudez steps out short of the 45 upon a 56. Return of 8 with 8:37 to go here in Philadelphia. Now coming up 3:30 on ABC. On the banks of the Tennessee River, Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Volunteers trying to end an 8-game losing streak to that man, Kirby Smart. And 6th ranked Georgia, Peyton Manning in the house. The Stars are out in Knoxville. Sam Ocho, Roy Philpott, Marilyn Payne. Back in Philadelphia. This Oklahoma defense has yielded just 19 points all season. Johnny McCoy in at quarterback. And on first down over the left side. Short game. Give him 2. And Hunter Smith. Second down and 8. McCoy, the transfer quarterback, driving in Oregon State. Spent some time at Idaho. Tyler Walker, current offensive play caller for Temple. I was able to see him several occasions. He was at Montana State. Meeting at the quarterback deep in the backfield. Tyler Heim and Taylor Wine able to bring him down.
Yeah, when you go side to side, the best way to attack that is defenses going downhill. There's all this motion and all this window dressing, and neither Heim nor Wine care about the window dressing. They're going to try to get as much penetration as possible to make you second guess if you should run plays like that again.
It's a mouthful there. Taylor Heim and Taylor Wine. The day, it's the 11th tackle for loss. And this Sooners defense showing pressure again. Brent Venables has not taken his foot off the gas. McCoy, a dangerous toss. Travel a long ways to get it to Irvin. Approaching 7 minutes to play in our fourth quarter.
I got just one more back to the game, Texas OU game. Why do people call it OU Texas?
It's just the way that it flows. It's easier for the mouth to form those words, like from the outside looking in.
Number 13 is checking in as number 91.
I've got no dog in the game, right, between those two. Respect both programs. And I mean, it starts, I guess, in alphabetical order. It flows a little easier. Now, for you, you went to Texas. You tell me, why is it so?
I've only ever called it Texas OU. It's always, I mean, I grew up in Dallas. I always called it Texas OU. But now I'm hearing all this OU Texas stuff. I'm like, dude, where is this from? And then generally speaking, people say OU Texas. I'm like, I get an OU person, but.
Well, we don't want to look too far ahead because it's Auburn next week, and Hugh Freeze and Jackson Arnold are going to have a lot to say about what happens before that matchup in the Metroplex. And of course, Jackson Arnold started his OU career 2 years ago. Last season, all the injuries, change in offensive play callers mid-season. Seth Luttrell was essentially let go by Coach Venables. What was a dismal offensive campaign. And Brent even said this week, you know, the additions of Mateer and Arbuckle have helped heal the wounds from last year. OU fans happy to see Jaden Ott on the field for the first time, the Cal transfer. He'll get a touch. He hasn't received many this year. And Sam, I wanted to ask you about that. Why haven't we seen more of Jaden Ott? He was preseason second team All SEC.
He was. Well, part of it was he had some injuries in the offseason, and so he wasn't practicing as much. I think another piece of it too, maybe just the style of running back that DeMarco Murray wants to instill and put on tape. He's not necessarily that style. Jaden Ott is great in space. He's got great explosive power, but when you look on tape, he's not as physical as some of the other backs so far. Maybe some of that's because of injury, but I think that's what's got to change. in the run block, in the pass blocking game as well, if Ott wants to be on the field more.
Elijah Thomas picks up a couple. Jaden Ott at Cal, awfully impressive. He battled an ankle injury a year ago in a team that won at Auburn. They'll see the Tigers next week. But you go back 2 seasons ago, 14 total touchdowns, more than 1,300 rush yards at Berkeley.
He's explosive. He's extremely explosive, but maybe it's the injury, also the style, maybe it's some of the pass blocking as well. All those things matter to not only play in this offense or play for DeMarco Murray, but to be a complete running back.
Shoulder injury in preseason camp, that really limited his development this season. You mentioned the ankle last year playing for the Bears in the ACC. He entered the transfer portal, and it came down to OU and Georgia. And at that point in time, he leaned in the direction of Brent Venables' club, obviously. But it's been more of Torrey Blaylock, Javonte Barnes, and Ott is the 4th running back into this game today.
But to your point, it's still early in the season. We're just in game 3, and this is a long season. If you want to have success, number one, you're going to need multiple running backs, but also you never know. It might take one big run, and all of a sudden that confidence comes back for Jaden Ott. And the Jaden Ott of old, the one from 2 years ago at Cal, when healthy, starts to reemerge. So he could still be a weapon for this offense, even though he's not getting the reps early.
A crowded running back room, to say the least. And a luxury if you're Ben Arbuckle. His numbers so far this season, including what we've seen, he entered this game 5 carries for 6 yards. Now at 8 rushing attempts for 14. Picked up a yard there. 3rd down and 7. Sooners just trying to get back to Norman. Hop on the jet, get back home, get ready for SEC play next weekend. Hawkins will shoot one deep. Man-to-man coverage. A little hand fighting there. There's some laundry. Earl Culp against Elijah Thomas.
Pass interference, defense, number 11. That's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
And what do you do when you get beat? You don't want to give up a touchdown. You just grab on and hold to keep the offense from getting into the end zone. That was just bad technique by Earl Culp, but a great throw by Michael Hawkins.
Got Iowa State on the road, top 15 Cyclones at Arkansas State when we are done here in Philadelphia. Rocco Beck, that show rolls on. Starting with that season opening win in Dublin against Kansas State. The Wildcats have hit tough times. They lost last night to Arizona after losing a week ago at home against Army. The one thing we've learned about that game in Ireland, to the winner, you feel great. You're able to capitalize. The loser, well, for Florida State last year, disaster. And for K-State so far this season, kind of a similar path.
Well, it's not even just about that Dublin game. It's also about the Big 12. It's almost like you never know who's going to be successful in that conference. Last year, no one knew Arizona State was going to be as good as they were. This year, people were talking about Kansas State as being the favorite. Now it hasn't gone that way so far.
Robinson steamrolls his way down to the 36.
Another great block by Logan Howland. But, man, one thing about Xavier Robinson that's different than the other backs is his size. This dude is 239 pounds. Most of these other backs are in the 210 range, and he's different, built different. That might be a sign of things to come when you have short yardage in Oklahoma.
The balance today for the Sooners, over 200 yards rushing, nearly 300 yards passing. Approaching 500 total yards. Here, this 2-minute timeout. Robinson again. Trying to bulldoze his way for a few. That should get us down to the 2-minute timeout.
So Auburn, Jackson Arnold.
Could be some drama this week.
There's going to be some feelings this week.
And look, Brent Venables has said all the right things. It just didn't work out last season. Not the way that anybody had hoped for. The injuries, the changes. He still has a ton of respect for the Arnold family and for Jackson himself. We do have breaking news to tell you about. The studio is going to tell you how it ended in Atlanta after this.
they get to 4-0.
Kevin and Trevor, thank you. Rocco Becht has been very good and efficient and so gritty as the Cyclones starting quarterback. Meanwhile, the double-decker field goal to beat Clemson Tigers with 2 losses. I mean, they clearly are on the outside looking in at the college football playoff. And for Georgia Tech and Brent Key, first win over Clemson since 2011. I mean, that team is starting to surge. And Sam, you feel like you know and understand their identity, their physicality. And it starts with Haynes King at quarterback.
Correct. He's one of the toughest dudes in football. It seems like every time you watch him, he's limping or overcoming some kind of injury, but he just is tough.
42-3, Oklahoma in command and control as it's been all game long. Michael Hawkins on 3rd and 14 picks up 16. Schedule much more difficult after today. All 8 SEC foes ranked currently in the top 25, beginning with that ABC showdown next week. It's Jackson Arnold and the Auburn Tigers.
Yes, it's daunting but exciting because you know that they're going to be up to the match. That's what competitors live for, games like that, seasons like that.
Should be the final snap of the ball game. Robinson try to get down, and he does. And the Sooners continue their impressive romp through the early portion of this schedule in 2025. 42-3, our final score in Philly. Brent Venables, year number 4, calling ball plays on defense. He's got a quarterback, he's got an offense, and he's got a ball team that's going to do some damage this season.
Yeah, this team is trending in the right direction. And this matchup means more than people may think. Sure, it's Temple, it's 42-3, but we would always say that the standard is the standard. You never want to play up or play down to your competition. You fall to the level of your systems, and the system is running effectively for OU.
John Mateer, 20 of 34 passing for 282 yards, a touchdown, the interception. And he also had the 51-yard touchdown run to open up the scoring in our second half, and he is with our Maryland Payne.
John, how do you feel your offense grew today?
I feel like we got one game better. You know, it wasn't our best, and we're still striving for that, you know, but we got one game better, and we were able to run the ball there at the end.
Yeah, you mentioned it, more than 100 yards for Torrey Blaylock. How does that type of run game enhance what you can do down the road?
Yeah, if you establish a run game, you can open up the pass, and that's just how football is. And he's done a great job. I'm a true freshman. He's making plays, and we love him.
How about this defense denying a touchdown? How do they enable what you do when you're out there?
It's a team game, and they are good. They are very good, and they swarm the ball, and they're violent, and that's how they like to play. And we appreciate them, and we love going against them in practice.
The violence will perhaps need to continue as you start SEC play next week. What will be the focus on your side of the ball as you prepare for conference play?
Just keep bringing the physicality, establishing the run, and knowing their scheme just like we know ours. That's what it is.
Thanks for the time. Congrats.
Thank you.
42-3. Final score once again in Philadelphia. Rare trip to the East Coast for number 13, Oklahoma. Sam, final thoughts?
This is an impressive win, but more than anything, an impressive team that seems like they're up to the match. They got the quarterback, they got the defense, a stable of running backs. I'm excited about the Sooners.
42-3, Oklahoma now 3-0. SEC play coming next week back in Norman as Auburn comes to town. Let's get you back to the studio. Caught up on all the action with Kevin Connors, Trevor Manning.